What is up, San Diego? Welcome in to Gwynn and Chris 201 on the clock. November 5th, otherwise known as Vote Day.
I thought it was the NFL trade deadline day.
It is also, is it the actual deadline
I believe
day?
it is, yeah.
I know there's a bunch of trades.
It's passed.
It actually passed, so trade deadline has gone and come.
There's still time to vote. There's still time to vote, but there's not time to trade.
No more time to trade.
No.
So we'll be with you guys for 4 hours. Mark Zeigler will join us in the 2 o'clock hour. We'll have a Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show. It might be sports, it might not. We haven't heard from...
I'm busy drumming it up right now.
All right, so he's drumming that up right now at Daily Gambit and Chris versus the Fan of Big Five. And we welcome you in on this Tuesday afternoon. This will be a great time to start the conversation off with your garage.
Oh.
How did it
great.
continue or end?
Well, here's how it ended. If anybody's watching on YouTube, they might be able to see. There's a bunch of black residue.
Look at this grease monkey over
grease
here.
monkey on my hands. That's how it ended. I did get home after the show last night, resume my battle with the. It wasn't the garage door as much as it was the clicker or the remote from the car to sync that up with the garage door. And it was trying to get my car synced up and trying to get my wife's car synced up. I got home.
Which you erased.
Which I erased trying to fix the outside
battery, right?
Battery pad. Right. So that's how I got erased in the first place. I came home and continued down the wrong path for about a half an hour. Then I had to go broadcast the Aztec women's game.
Oh, wait, so you went
Thankfully,
home, you went home just for a splash.
Just for a quick splash and a couple of attempts. No go there. Went and did the Aztec women's game, and congrats to the Aztec ladies. They looked very good in an opening victory over Cal State San Marcos. And then I got home and grabbed a little bite to eat, and then pulled up the britches at about 10:30 last night, Tony. Went back out into the garage and started hashing away at it again.
You know it's serious when you got to pull up your britches.
Britches were pulled up.
Yeah,
and
that's serious.
I got my wife's car working first.
As you should.
And once that worked, I think that gave me...
The pressure was off at that point.
That gave me the ability to believe that I could do it with my car, even though I hadn't been able to do it all day and evening. And I texted these guys at 11:14 officially last night, telling you guys that I had finally won the battle over the garage door clicker. But in doing so... the garage door opened and closed so many times trying to fix it that it got off its rail.
Oh, my goodness.
And so this morning when I woke up and opened the garage door, it didn't open. And I was like, this is incredible. But I noticed that it slipped off the, off the rail. So that is why my hands are completely with that black muck grease getting it back on the rail. It's all working now. But man,
congratulations, man.
It
had you stressed yesterday while
I totally stressed yesterday.
I
I couldn't concentrate, and that's why I went home before the basketball game and tried it again because it was bothering me that much. I didn't want it hanging over my head as I was broadcasting. But I feel like I won, Tony, but I feel like I lost a lot of soldiers along the way. You know what I mean? Like I won the war, but I lost a lot of battles along the way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
ultimately
I was victorious,
right.
But I sacrificed a lot to get there. So.
I think I was talking to my therapist this morning, and we
about that.
We talked about Chris's garage door issue, and she was like, "Well, why does it bother you that he can't figure it out?" And I was like, "I don't know why it bothers me, but this really was a thing for you. This legitimately was a damper on your day yesterday."
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad
I have OCD. You guys know that. We've talked about it in the past. And when something is amiss in my world, it really does. It throws me way off sometimes. Yeah. And I couldn't get it settled, so I couldn't settle myself because I couldn't get that settled.
About handling you, Chris? She says,
"Stop worrying about me."
She said, "Why don't you just be a little bit nicer and say, I'm glad you got it fixed.
That would be what normal people would do.
Yeah, but
I
that's
said,
not
but
what
I can't
Scraby will
do
do.
that, therapist.
Because you're not normal, apparently.
So, Chris, I am happy that your garage door is fixed.
Thank you.
I
Very
am
well
happy you figured it out technologically.
I will
now I've
send-
done my therapy homework.
You did well. I will send a note to your therapist and tell her that you
homework.
did well.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
good.
Now I can move on with my day.
We
All
can
right.
all move on.
Let's do that. Then we'll move on into the baseball carry. Not much category. Not much baseball news for you guys. However, they did have the top 3 executive. They announced the top 3 executive of the year candidates, and AJ Preller is not on there. I attribute this to him having some haters out there, because I don't really know how you can come up with 3 outside of Matt Arnold,
Who
Brewers.
ended up winning the award.
He
Matt
ended up
Arnold,
winning.
the,
He won
is
it.
he
The
the GM
Brewers.
of the Brewers?
He's the GM of the
So
Brewers.
he was
He won.
named the executive of the year.
Yes.
Yes.
Pete,
And the Brewers did have a nice season
They did.
in which they were not picked highly.
They were.
But I think the Padres had a great season in which they were not picked highly.
And I will say that the 3 executives that were up for it certainly deserved it. They had teams that I think no one. I know a lot of people kind of pushed aside the Padres, but the Padres, I think for all intents and purposes, had a pretty good roster. It just wasn't as strong as the year before. Whereas the Brewers, the Royals, the Guardians, especially, all 3 of those teams, I don't think anybody had on their radar.
I know, but the Padres, the added, to me, impressive, thing about the job that AJ did
Payroll
last
part.
year was the payroll,
Yeah,
right?
I
I mean,
agree.
he had to cut the payroll by quite a bit. He was able. He had to trade Juan Soto. We've talked about it many different ways and different times, and he ended up getting a tremendous return for one of the best players in baseball. Gave his team a chance to win with the addition of 2 starting pitchers that both had outstanding years, and he signed all the right fringe guys. I don't want to say fringe, but bench guys. Solano, brought in David Peralta, signed Jurickson Profar, picked up Higashioka in that trade.
Did you
Deadline, the
Jason
deadline.
Adam? Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. At the deadline, he was money with Jason Adam and Tanner Scott and Brian Hoying, and then made one last trade for Martin Perez, and that worked out.
Yeah, my point wasn't to discredit what AJ did.
Yeah,
'cause
I know. I
AJ
think you're saying that they kind of overlooked it in the
I
voting.
think they did overlook it. Those 3 guys that I mentioned, for those 3 teams, are well deserving of it. But so is AJ. I mean, the fact that he had to cut payroll and move one of the best players in the league off of his roster, and in that you had to manage to get a 4th and a 5th starter.
Yeah.
You had to get a left fielder. You had to figure out a center fielder. And now I think the argument against it, playing devil's advocate, will be, well, he kind of put himself in that situation with the prior moves to it. But
I don't know about that. I mean, he certainly didn't put himself in the prior situation of having to cut the payroll, did he? I mean, he was given the okay.
No, listen to my point. I'm talking
sorry.
about in terms of what he had to feel. Yeah, no, he didn't necessarily. It wasn't his fault that the payroll changed, but
Right.
You moved a bunch of prospects to get to such and such guys to bring onto your roster. You've kind of traded the guys in order to win now, and as a consequence of that, you then didn't necessarily have the staple that you needed. But nonetheless, he still found a way to get this team all the way through the season, almost win the National League West after.
They got close.
They got close. So yeah, my point is, all deserving, but AJ deserved to be in there too.
Yeah, only 4 teams had a better record than AJ, and that's the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Phillies.
And I do think he has some haters out there. I don't know who votes on this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
Is
about
this-
that because you
is-
said there was some hating going on.
I feel like
are there people that vote on this that don't like what?
Scrape, who votes on this?
I believe the.
I don't think that's the baseball writers. I don't think that's one that they vote on.
I don't think so
it'd be
either. I
interesting
feel
to
like
find
it's-
out who actually cast those ballots.
It's yes, okay. I wanted to make sure. I'm learning these days not to bust out with the answer when it's wrong. The award is voted on by executives from all 30 MLB teams.
This is why I think there's some haters out there.
Because he has rooked a lot of these guys in the past, or
I don't.
They're jealous.
I don't know what it is, but it definitely feels like there are GMs that have spoken on him in the past. Some aren't even GMs anymore. My man Sampson used to be for the Marlins.
David Sampson,
his biggest hater, I think.
Yeah, he works for CBS
although
now.
Scraby informed me that he did give AJ a lot of credit, and this is coming from his biggest hater.
Oh yeah,
about the kind of year he had putting together the roster.
Did you read what was on here about what the other executives said as they arrived? Because this is why it's a little weird to me that he wasn't even voted top 3. I'm not saying he should have won, but not to be recognized.
Oh yeah,
at all.
no, I did read it because apparently the consensus in the GM meetings that are going on right now is that they felt like the Padres' past roster was the most complete Preller had assembled in any of his 10 seasons as a Padre GM. Even on Monday, as they arrived in the Texas Hill Country, some baseball people mused that the Padres appeared to be the strongest of the 12 playoff teams.
So how does he not finish top 3? Or mentioned?
I'll tell you, there's some haters.
Pretty soon they're announcing the finalists for the Rookie of the Year award. I think early next week. The award's actually going to be given away on the 18th. Which is a week from Monday.
I have the dates when you're ready for them, for all the awards.
Right. The rookie's on the 18th. That's a Monday.
Yes, correct.
Then the manager of the year is on the 19th, which is
November?
a Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
November 19th.
We coming up here.
Yeah, Cy Young is on the Wednesday that week, and then the MVP's on the Thursday.
Correct.
So the one we're looking at is the 18th.
We're looking at the one on the 18th, but when are the finalists announced? I think it's this coming Monday. I'm just saying, if you really want to get angry, I mean, there's no way they're going to announce the Rookie of the Year finalists in the National League, and Jackson Merrill's not going to at least be one of those.
He has to be.
He has to be.
I can't even fathom a scenario in which he's not.
I can't either, but, I mean, every year when they leave Manny off to Gold Glove finalists, I start wondering about
It's
it.
really irked Chris this year that
Well,
he
it
was
should
left
irk
off.
Chris. I mean, and it should irk the rest of us. That we watch this guy play third base better than anybody else all season long, every year, and get overlooked every time.
I'm usually with you, but he didn't play enough games.
I know you said that this year, but what was the excuse last year?
I didn't have one. I was with you last year.
Okay. All right.
But this year, they got one. They have a legitimate excuse.
It's not a legit excuse.
I think that's why he's not on
I
there.
can't wait for Nolan Arenado to win. Is he even up for it? I don't even remember.
I think he is.
No,
up
he
for
didn't
it.
win it. Matt Chapman won it. They
No,
already
I'm
announced
saying
it.
this year.
Oh, they already announced it. That's right.
Yeah, Matt Chapman won the
that's
Gold Glove this year.
He
third
was
base.
he was a finalist though, right?
Arenado was the other
Yeah,
finalist,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ryan
That's
McMahon.
Such a bad memory, guys.
I mean, look, I've watched Ryan McMahon play third base, and we have all seen the Rockies play here, and what is it, 18 times a year? Now it's 13 times a year. I mean, Ryan McMahon's not as good as Manny. It's no argument there.
I don't think there is an argument. I don't think there's an argument there either.
All right.
he says all right.
You just wanted
No,
that one
not
right
all
there.
right, but what can
Now,
I do?
When if Mike Shildt isn't named in the top 3 for NL manager,
I think he should be. Yeah.
is that? I mean,
Can you think of
I
three
think
that could be in
I
there?
the
think-
Brewers.
I think Pat Murphy with the Brewers is going to be there.
Because it's National League, American League, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
National League only. I think the Mets has a chance. What's
Mendoza?
that? Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah.
And I mean, unless you're going to go with Dave Roberts or
They can't go with Dave
Thompson in
Roberts over-
Philadelphia.
You can't spend $1 billion on your team and then win Manager of the
They
Year.
can't go over.
I didn't. I'm just saying.
I know.
If they,
No,
the
I'm
other,
just,
I'll tell you the other
musing
guy.
out loud.
I'll tell you the other guy. If they want to leave Shildt off, if they want to go out of their way to not vote for Shildt, they could vote for Pat Murphy in Milwaukee. They could vote for
Mendoza in New
Mendoza
York.
and the Mets, and they could vote for Brian Snitker of the Braves, because the Braves had every single player injured and still, got second place. I'm just trying to play the worst possible, result, because we in San Diego are kind of used to being overlooked like that.
to getting them, huh?
Yes.
All right, well, we'll figure it out. Let's step away. Let's get our first break of the day. When we come back, we also discussed the NFL trade deadline that had a lot of movement. Don't necessarily know if there was the huge names, but there was a lot of movement. We'll discuss.
Jerry Jones making huge moves.
Jerry Jones is pissing a lot of people off.
Jerry
in
Jones
Dallas right
threatened
now.
to make a huge move.
He threatened is the right word.
We're going to talk
he made
about
a move.
We're going to talk about the move he made and how it is being perceived across the league. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Hey, guys, it is your old pal, Woods. Did you wake up this morning?
my garage door, and all the clickers involved with it are working. So that means it's going to be a good day. We got 4 full hours with you until 6 o'clock. Then the Scraby Chronicles check in from 6 to 7 this evening. Don't forget tomorrow night, Sam Levitt makes his off-season debut. Is it called the Sam Levitt Show? No, it's called Inside Baseball.
Inside San Diego Baseball.
Inside San Diego Baseball. Thank you. That's coming up tomorrow night. Mark Zeigler will be joining our program in a little bit to help us preview tomorrow night's Aztec basketball season opener against UC San Diego. There's one mildly important breaking news story at this hour. We'll talk about it much later in the program, but the NBA did suspend Joel Embiid 3 games for shoving that columnist, and we talked a lot about all of that yesterday, but we'll get into it a little deeper as the program goes along. But right now, NFL trade deadline came and went today, and I mean the Cowboys are being just lambasted, Jerry Jones, specifically, and it seems very deserved. And here's why. Now, the Cowboys did acquire a wide receiver today from the Carolina Panthers, Jonathan Mingo. Raise your hand if you have him stashed away in a fantasy league somewhere. I don't know that anybody does. But the Cowboys get Jonathan Mingo. Here's the thing. They have to give up a 4th-round pick to get him. That is a better pick than the Kansas City Chiefs had to give up to get DeAndre Hopkins, who last night went 8 for 86 and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner for the Chiefs. And this is why they're blasting Jerry Jones. The Ravens gave up a 5th-round pick to get the other Panthers wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, but the Cowboys give up a 4th-round pick for a guy that nobody really even knows. And people are like, Jerry, I mean, the hell are you doing?
He's not helping his case. Now, ultimately, he doesn't have to help his case. He owns the team. So it's not like you can.
That's right. He doesn't have to earn any performance bonuses.
Right. He can literally keep making trades until he decides he doesn't want to, and nothing's going to be done about it.
Yeah.
But this doesn't help his case in terms of trying to make people think that he knows what he's doing.
That's a perfect way to put it. Does Jerry Jones know what he's doing? Answer, he traded a 4th-round pick, way more than he ever had to, for Jonathan Mingo. The Steelers acquired a wide receiver today as well. The forgotten former Charger and now Jet wide receiver Mike Williams, he goes to Pittsburgh for a 5th-round pick. Those were the 2 skilled players. I guess there was one more, Khalil Herbert, the Bears' backup running back, will now be backing up in Cincinnati.
I like the
Bengals needed somebody there.
And he tweeted out, "Thank you, God," because
he was
the Bears are a mess. We didn't even talk about this yesterday, but DJ Moore walking off the field during a live play and just going to sit on the bench is a terrible look for that team.
Yeah, but it goes right with the other guy, the cornerback last week.
Exactly.
During the middle
That's
of
the
game.
coach's fault.
Yeah, but they got. I mean, listen, that's a great point, right? You got your cornerback celebrating before you guys get walked off on.
Yeah.
He decides after he's getting demoted that he is gonna.
He just quit. Basically,
he's not gonna play. He's not gonna practice.
He took his ball and went home
until he thought about it and came back and entered himself back into practice.
Yeah.
Herbert is saying, "Thank God that he got up out of there." So it's not looking good for my man Eberflus right now.
No, it's not.
It's really not. Like, they gave him a pass last year. We're going to get you a quarterback. And he, by all accounts, he has a talented quarterback.
They've shown some ability from time to time, but these latest incidents can't look good to management.
That's the thing, is it has nothing necessarily to do with the quarterback you drafted. It has to do with these other incidents of guys either being happy they're not there or not being able to conduct themselves as pros.
The only good news for Matt Eberflus is that I'm not so sure the GM for the Bears really knows what he's doing either.
He just got his job, so he just got the job.
Yeah,
like
well,
2
I don't
years
know if
ago.
he's gonna. What's his name?
I can't remember. I watched a little bit.
I watched him
Hard
in
Knocks.
Hard Knocks, and he didn't impress me as a guy that.
Is
really
it Ryan Poles?
Maybe.
I don't want to guess.
Yeah, it is.
All right,
Ryan
very
Pohl.
good, Scraby.
How'd you
Nice
pull
pull
that
there.
out, dog?
Nice
For
job.
real.
Honestly, I think his last name's weird.
Such a child.
No,
That's all.
it's not like that. It's just like I've never heard of anyone named Poles before. So
Well, now you have.
Ryan Poles.
You could try to disguise it.
You
You're such a
reminded me of
child.
an old baseball pitcher, and I kid you not, this was the guy's name. Right-hander Dick Pole. Pitched for the Red Sox.
Oh gosh.
Can look him up. The other team that's being applauded today is the Detroit Lions. Oh, my God.
That was for Dick Pole.
Oh, it was. Okay. Be careful.
You know what? The Olympic guy, Dick Pound, has not made any
Waves of late.
waves of late.
Yeah.
Tony's just not looking.
Detroit Lions added up. I'm going to try to move on here. Detroit Lions have added a very good pass rusher. Defensive end Zadarius Smith comes from the Cleveland Browns. Lions have been looking for somebody since Aiden Hutchinson's injury last month. Here's the thing. Aiden Hutchinson, who's really one of the best players in the league, hardly even noticed that he's been gone.
You forgot he
I mean,
was
the
gone,
Lions
right?
have just been whipping everybody anyway. But they get their pass rusher today.
I like the
So.
I like the move the Ravens made, getting Trey White as another
the
corner.
corner from the Rams, two-time
yeah.
Pro Bowler. Yeah.
How about Norv Turner coming back?
Well, the Raiders are they're saved, evidently. The Raiders are saved. I'm sure any Charger fan will tell you
How
that.
old is Norv at this point?
Norvulus has got to be getting up there.
Is that the full name for Norv?
No, it is not.
Is it Norvell or something?
I think it's Norvell.
Norvulus.
I'll have to look it up. He's 72 years old. Norv is. But, Norv had...
Norval.
Norval.
Yeah.
Yeah. Norval had a troubled tenure here as head coach of the Chargers, you may
he
remember.
did. Yes, he did.
Back in the day. But, the Raiders are bringing Norv in to try and help out their new offensive coordinators. They just fired Luke Getsy and their quarterbacks coach and offensive line coach. They got rid of them all after losing to the Bengals. So.
Telling you, Antonio Pierce was a bad decision for head coach.
Well, here's why Norv's in. Scott Turner, his son, is the interim offensive coordinator. So
he's
it'll
going to
be
come in and
he'll
advise
be
his
working
son
with
a
his
little bit.
dad. Yeah. So
Did
there
you know
go.
that Norv Turner is also an aspiring country artist?
I did know that.
Yeah.
I did know that.
I remember in past days playing a country Norv Turner song on the radio.
Get outta here.
I
Seriously?
remember,
I'm not kidding.
I remember hearing about that.
He
for sure.
came on the show I was working at the time, and we debuted his song. It was very strange. but
Norv?
He was pretty good. It was pretty good, I gotta say.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, maybe he picked the wrong line of work to go into.
Maybe.
What was Norv's record back in the day for the Chargers? I'm going to look it up here.
I think he had one really good season.
7-9, 8-8, 9-7. Did have a 13-3
I remember
in there,
the one.
and then an 8-8, and he also had an 11-5. Tony,
Okay, so
both times got beat in the playoffs. His best season was the first one
that's
when
what I
he
was
took
gonna say.
them to the
He-
conference championship.
He also got the remnants of the year before.
He got
that
the
great
remnants of
team.
Norv's 14-2. Not Norv, Marty
Marty's,
Schottenheimer's
yeah.
14-2. The thing about Norv Turner, complain about him as you will, Mike McCoy came in and basically coached the team right out of town with his performance of 9-7.
I don't think he's
9-7,
to blame for the
4-12,
Chargers
5-11.
moving. I'm just going to take that off of his shoulders.
I'm not gonna blame Mike McCoy. It's not on him. But do you think we would have as easily allowed them to move had they gone 12-4, 12-4, rather than 4-12, 5-11?
I can't honestly answer that because I don't
I know you can't, but I'm telling you, I think that there's a factor there.
Maybe so. I
Team
think
had
so.
been, Mike McCoy leads them to an AFC championship. Much like the Padres in 1998 got a new stadium out of that.
Yeah.
Maybe the same could have happened for the Chargers. So, forget about it. It is Mike McCoy's fault. There. I said that, and I feel better. Mark Zeigler joins us to talk some Aztec basketball when we come back. Gwynn and Chris underway for a Tuesday. Glad you're with us. Relax, hang out till 6.
You know, I want to get this out the way because I know eventually it'll come up, especially if this particular team keeps playing well, but got to give the Atlanta Falcons a little credit. Our boss, Adam Klug's a big Falcon fan, and I told him during the offseason as they made some of those weird moves that they were still going to suck. And unfortunately...
They still do. I don't care what their record is.
Unfortunately, they've actually played pretty good, and I actually like watching Kirk Cousins in the
They got
ATL.
2 very lucky victories over Tampa Bay. That's the difference in that race.
I also told him that it's only halfway through the season, so things can change very fast.
They caught Dallas on a really bad or a good time for Atlanta.
Everybody's catching Dallas on the bad one, it seems like. That team
We'll see with the Falcons. I mean, does anybody really legit think the Falcons are going to push the Lions or once the 49ers figure it out, or even the Commanders for that matter? I mean, and Eagles. Commanders look, what are they, 7-2?
They also made a big trade today. They brought in the Saints corner Lattimore.
Yes, they did.
As a part of is probably the biggest deal of the day so far. So, biggest day of the trade deadline.
Loving my Washington FT.
Washington FT. All right.
And logo. Whoops.
That will never not get old.
I wish it would.
Oh, it feels good.
We will get into the Joel Embiid suspension for shoving the columnist who referenced his baby boy and his brother who had passed away in an accident. So we'll get to that.
Can we? How about we? Well, we'll talk more about it later.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
I got some comments.
You got some comments? Oh.
I do. Since we're on the NBA, anybody wondering whether the Lakers won last night just has to make note of the fact that it has not yet been mentioned by Tony.
They didn't.
No, they didn't.
They lost Detroit.
That's okay. Bulls gave Utah their first win.
Oh, did they?
The Bulls are.
That doesn't really make me feel better.
No,
but
I know it doesn't. But
I guess
misery loves company, right? As the old saying. Yeah,
no doubt. All right, let's. We were able to catch up with Mark Zeigler to talk a little Aztec basketball. They're in action tomorrow against UCSD. Caught up to him to talk about that and some. The Aztecs in action tomorrow against UCSD. We've got our guests to talk a little bit about our Aztecs. Mark Zeigler joins us, Union Tribune. And Mark, how are you today, first and foremost? How's your day going?
It's going okay. I mean, can't complain. We're in November. We got a little Santa Ana going. I voted, so all's good.
All's good.
Boy.
All's good.
You're a good American, Mark. You're a good American. I've always said that.
Mark, obviously the Aztecs coming off of a pretty good showing against in the exhibition game. They get ready for tomorrow's game against UCSD. How is this basketball team feeling going into tomorrow's game?
I think after the closed-door scrimmage against UCLA and then the open-door exhibition against Cal State San Marcos, some of the questions around this team were answered. I mean, I think there was a lot of concern among fans and maybe even among some of the coaches, just so much newness and so many young guys and, what's that going to look like? And I think they were pleasantly surprised. Now, can they carry that over into a pressure-packed season opener, full house that will probably be a lot closer and it's going to require some pressure plays to be made? We'll see. But I think people have been pleasantly surprised with how quickly this team has progressed, how well they're playing defense, how together they are, how long and athletic they are, and how much potential they seem to have. So far so good. But this, as we know from last year's game, can be a stumbling block.
Yeah, last year UCSD, by all rights, probably should have won that game against the Aztecs until Jaden Ledee rode to the rescue. And obviously, Mark, that's not going to be happening this year. How, in general, is Brian Dutcher and company planning to make up not only just for the points of Jaden Ledee, but just the offense running through Jaden Ledee last year? Where are they going to go, especially with Reese Waters starting the season hurt?
I think, you have two choices, and one is to just kind of have the same system, find another guy to stick in that spot and kind of feature him there. But the other, I think they realize there is no more Jaden Ledees on this roster. And And the other option is just to retool everything and make it a different offensive approach that better suits your personnel, and that's what they've done or tried to do. It's a much more free-flowing team. You'll hear the coaches, yelling at them to play multiple sides of the floor, to stretch the defense, to swing the ball quicker, to move the ball quicker, something we didn't really see the last few years with Matt Bradley and Jaden Lee. Understandably so. I mean, those guys are very good one-on-one players. You got them the ball, you got them in the right spots, you got out of the way. This is going to be much more equal opportunity, and so we're going to see a lot of different guys scoring. I mean, Nick Boyd, I think, will have a good season and will, could be a leading scorer.
Go ahead.
So could
yourself.
Miles Bird when Reese Waters comes back.
That part's
according to movies.
Lagoon Guath could have big games. Jared Coleman Jones
groom
has the offensive
You
skills.
spend
to have
years with this
big
kid.
games.
Telling him how important his job is to
Wayne
the American
McKinney has proven it
history.
at USD. He can have big games, and so I just think you're going to see a different leading scorer every night.
Yeah,
You'll go down as
that's a conspiracy movie right there. But
Mark Zeigler joins us here on Gwynn and Chris, and Mark. Oftentimes, as we've watched this Aztec program, there's like a steady improvement throughout the course of the year, but they kind of hit their stride come January, around that time frame. You start seeing them play kind of the brand of basketball we're used to seeing them play. Now, with all of the things that you've discussed, this being not really having a go-to guy
In
so
the
to
Big
speak,
Five, I have
Reese
one
Waters
of the
out.
wide
Do you
receivers from
expect
Boise
that
State
kind of
saying that the
progress
teams that are playing
look a
them are
little
trying
different
to
this
stack
year?
the box so that Ashton Jeanty
I
doesn't win.
still think they'll be, the
Heisman.
typical peaking in January, February, March, that type of thing. I think they'll be way better. I think you'll see some signs right now of what they can do. But where I think the real question is going to become is when they play close games. We'll see how many close games they play. You never know. But when they play close games, who has the ball in those situations? Who's the go-to guy? What's the play? Can they get a basket when you need one? Can they get a stop when you need one? And those are things you can't answer until you play games. And so that's to answer your question. We really won't know. I mean, the next step for this team now is to see this team in pressure situations. It's one thing when you're blowing out Cal State San Marcos by, it was 80-39. I mean, those guys were down 11-0. They couldn't score. You knew they were going to win, and everyone's much looser and freer. But, you saw it last year at UCSD. When that game tightened up, so did the Aztecs, because in the back of their minds, like, oh, my gosh, we cannot lose this game. This would be a huge embarrassment for us, given our stature. And UCSD is a very capable team. They're going to hover around the 100 mark in Ken Palm. They're picked third in the Big West. They finished second last year. They got 3 key returns back. They got some decent transfers. Guy from Oregon State. They got Chris Howell, the Torrey County guy who played at St. Mary's. They got some guys. And so what's going to happen when they're in that pressure situation? And that will sort of answer, I think, the questions about how quickly this team will progress. They've got to go through that and figure that out. And if it's a seamless transition, if it's Nick Boyd and he just says, look, I'm taking over, and he does it, then no problem. But if they struggle to kind of, they're all standing there looking at each other, and I don't want the shot you take. It's going to be a longer progression.
Aztecs and UCSD tomorrow night, Wednesday, the season opener at Viejas Arena. I loved your story the last week about the new assistant coach asking Dutch and the rest of the guys how many people would be at the exhibition game, and suggesting maybe there'd be 200 or 300 people there. And they told him, oh no, there'll be 10 or 11,000. And so it was. It was like sold out almost for exhibition. Is there any time where we still should maybe shake our head at just how high of a stature this Aztec program has reached, how amazing this all is, their success in the tournament the last 2 years, and how much fun we all are having?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see as this goes on, because winning is just expected now.
It was right at the beginning.
Going to the tournament and losing the first round is a bad season now. And that's probably unfair to any college basketball program, given how much parity there is and how much things are changing, and particularly for a program that's not in the power conference. And I'm interested to see if fans, particularly the guys like us who've been around a long time, remember those bad old days, if they still have that appreciation for it, or at the first hint of disappointment, do they turn on the team and say, oh, this team's no good, and forget that, what it was like when Tony Fuller was here and Fred Trinkle was here and that whole crew, and they were playing in Peterson Gym. And so And this season, that's going to be tested a little bit. I mean,
I didn't
they're
give
not
Adam
going to be
any
favored. They're going to play
insight, don't worry.
UCSD tomorrow night, and then they're going to play Division III Occidental. And then after that, they're not going to be favored in their next 4 games. Most likely, they won't be favored. And they won't be favored against Cal probably in December. And so that's 5 of your 9 non-conference games you're not favored in. And if they don't win those games, well, they weren't supposed to. Now what are fans going to do?
Right.
And so that to me is going to be this is going to test it like it really hasn't been tested before. Now, of course, if the Aztecs come out and start winning some of these games and get ranked, well, then everyone will forget about that. But I think this is the season where we're really going to see the true colors of fans.
Mark, it's hard not to be paying close attention to what's happening with the Mountain West and them being able to add more teams to that conference, as some of the big teams that have already decided to head to the Pac-12 made their decision. It seems like the Mountain West has been able to act pretty fast and add new teams. And recently they add a Grand Canyon to the mix as a team in that Mountain West. Is this as bad as it seems on the outside looking in for the Pac-12, or was this anticipated that the Mountain West would be able to move the way they have?
I don't think anything's anticipated because there's so much uncertainty now. But look, and you make a really good point. As much as the Mountain West might have been caught off guard by the 4 teams leaving and then the 5th, they have acted very quickly, circled the wagons, figured out what they wanted, and moved and acted on it. And I think they've done a pretty good job. UTEP, given the circumstances, isn't a horrible ad. It's in a big city, a big market, has some tradition, has a big football stadium, provides a natural rival for New Mexico, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a horrible ad, and they jumped on them very quickly. And then Grand Canyon, I think, is a tremendous ad.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen what they've done with their basketball program. They're controversial because they're not, certain sections of the government still consider them a for-profit enterprise. And that should be troubling for anybody in college athletics because it allows them to invest maybe in places, particularly in athletics, that other schools are more reluctant to do. And so, what we've seen with their basketball program, it's taken off. I mean, you look at Boise State for all the success they have. They've never won an NCAA tournament game. Grand Canyon has. They beat St. Mary's last year in the first round, and it was impressive, and they deserved it. They beat the Aztecs twice at home. So that's going to be a huge ad for their basketball metrics and really help them in terms of the basketball conference. Maybe not quite as good as the Pac-12 will be with Gonzaga, but really not that far behind. As far as the Pac-12 is concerned, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. Unless they can convince 3 or 4 teams from the AAC to jump and join them and really get an Eastern presence, it's going to be difficult for one of those schools to come. Because that one school that comes, say it's a Memphis, they're going to have to travel all their athletes west most of the time, whereas the current Pac-12 members will only have to go to Memphis like once or twice, and so that's a huge ask for a mid-major type school to do without the charter resources that some of these big schools have. And so that's my question. I mean, who are you going to get? And I don't think we have the answer yet.
We kidded with Mark off the air that as a Stanford grad, he ought to try to bring the Cardinal back in, but he says he doesn't have the power to do that. Mark, last thing before I go, we go, and I would never want him to leave. I don't want him ever to go. Brian Dutcher, he has been now part of this program for, what is it, 25 years, 30 years?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Is there no end in sight? And if so, I hope that's the case. But, I mean, has he ever even talked about life after the Aztecs?
No, I think he's really happy. I think he's really enjoying. I mean, you went to the national championship and the Sweet 16 in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But like we just talked about, I mean, with the expectations kind of get the better of them, or NIL. I mean, you just saw what happened with Tony Bennett and saying this isn't the game that I remember coaching. And look, Brian Dutcher falls into that category. When he got into the business and for, pretty much all his career, it was a different game than it is now. He's adjusted, and his best quality is that he has adjusted, whether it's the transfer market, getting transfers in, or the way the game's played, or various rule changes. He's always been able to adjust, as did Steve Fisher. But I mean, I think there'll come a point where the frustration and age kind of intersect, and you just say, you know what, I've made my money, I enjoyed my time, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my life. You have grandkids, and his daughters live in town, so that point will come. I don't think it's for probably 3 or 4 more years, but it will come, and then we'll move on, and hopefully it will be Dave Velasquez will replace him, and you'll have another seamless transition, and they'll just keep going forward. But there's so much change in college basketball now. I don't think anybody should take their success for granted. It's getting harder and harder for a program like San Diego State to succeed, and we'll find out just how hard this year.
Yeah, none of us are in a rush to see Dutch go.
Oh, absolutely
there's
not.
no doubt about that. Mark, as always, man, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. We'll catch up again soon.
All right, I'll talk to you guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark Zeigler.
Buttons are not working. Hello?
Wait,
We kicked Tony off the show?
no, he's there.
Sitting
Stop
there.
saying check. There are some weird gremlins because we just had a
The Gremlins are back.
hot mic issue.
The Gremlins, there
There
they
we
are.
go.
The Gremlins are back.
I'm not sure what's going on, but
Mark Zeigler, appreciate you as always. Union Tribune, talking some Aztec basketball. Again, they're in action, as you probably heard twice there before we actually had the interview, that they will be playing the Aztecs tomorrow. UCSD at VAS Arena. Hopefully the Aztecs get off to a good start here tomorrow. All right, Daily Gambit coming up here shortly. We've got a few minutes before we hit the break. There was a little panic during the interview there. A little hot mic incident that
we were talking about. I was telling Chris about my conspiracy movies.
I'm glad that it was only
And as he was telling me, I was eating. And so everybody always hears me eating. It's incredible.
Somehow, because Tony, your camera keeps losing power. So anytime it is brought back on the screen, your microphone immediately goes live. And when we go into the interview, YouTube likes to take that audio.
Well, it's a good thing that I wasn't in the room stirring up things as I can do in between breaks and interviews. So everybody had a clean mouth, it sounded like.
Thankfully, you were nowhere to be found.
Let's get to break. Daily Gambit coming your way. Is it possible, Chris, that I lost every bet again?
It's possible.
It's possible.
But
All
not
right.
probable.
We'll get to it on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
Hey, welcome back to it. San Diego, California. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, Gwynn and Chris. San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. We are here until 6 o'clock. Scraby stays until 7 with the Scraby Chronicles. And we got Daily Gambit coming up. Tony Gwynn trying to extend it after going 0-7 over the weekend. Was he able to continue the pattern last night? We'll find out shortly. On Sunday, Dolphins at Bills. Dolphins down 7. Final minute of the game, they score a touchdown. Mike McDaniel opts to kick the extra point with the idea of sending the game to overtime. It obviously never got there. Guy from Buffalo, Bass, at a 61-yard field goal. Last night, Tampa Bay scores down 7 with, again, less than, I think, a minute to play, maybe even 35 seconds. Todd Bowles decides to take the game into overtime, kick the extra point. Kansas City wins the toss. Todd Bowles never gets the ball back. So both the Buccaneers and Dolphins had chances to go for the lead. Neither took the chance, and then neither ever saw the ball again. And Todd Bowles was, criticized for it last night. I think it's easy to criticize after the game's over, first of all. But his rationale was we wanted it to go to overtime, wet conditions on the field. I don't really understand this, but he said with wet conditions, we felt it had to go into overtime instead of going for 2. I think it's time that if you're an underdog like Miami was Sunday, clearly, and Josh Allen's on the other side, and like Tampa Bay was last night, clearly, with Mahomes on the other side, you got to take your shot for 2 there. I mean, if you don't make it, guess what? You lost the game anyway. I think it's something that coaches are going to have to start thinking about late in the game. Now, if you get the better team and the better quarterback, maybe overtime's okay. But I think, you got to take your shot there if you're underdog like that. Anybody? No?
Yeah, no, I see that. I think, anytime you got Patrick Mahomes on the other side,
exactly.
You just can't ever give him a chance, right?
Can't give him the ball.
In the same way that you wouldn't give the ball to Tom Brady, you don't give the ball to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't think
right
so.
now. I think he's at
or
that point.
If you give it to him, you at least say, okay, we now have the lead. Puts a little more pressure on him.
What was the other game you said it was? Oh,
Buffalo. And the Dolphins haven't stopped Josh Allen since the Hoover administration. So,
yeah, no,
I mean, go for the lead there.
I think to your point, if you're dealing with one of those type of dudes on the other side,
yes, that factors into my decision for sure.
Take your shot.
Take your shot. If you don't make it, guess what? You lost anyway.
Because
both of them lost.
I bet you it'll be easier explaining coming out of that loss. Well, I mean, we went for it. I didn't want to give this guy the ball back.
I think that's a better explanation.
I think you get a little bit more pass if you go that route versus whatever the reasons.
And then again, I don't like
gave.
any NFL coach that coaches just trying to get a pass from the media based on their decision. How about making a decision that you can stick up for, win or lose? You know? I mean, that's what the best coaches do.
Wouldn't the Chiefs would go for 2?
That they wouldn't have to, though, in my way of thinking.
Well,
they
because
might,
they have the best quarterback
because they have
in
the
the
guy,
league.
right? If it goes to overtime, they're going to probably win anyway.
Right. They don't really care how it goes.
But the Bucks, to me, they had their shot for the lead right there. I think you got to try it. But anyway, it's spilt milk for both the Florida teams there.
At 3:20, can I vent about Patrick Mahomes?
What? Wait, you said that you were on his side after watching the quarterback special. Now we're back to hating on him again, huh?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. This is
I don't get how you can
here.
hate. Well, I understand it. Here's why I understand it. If you can't reach greatness, you might as well hate greatness.
Who said that? Michael Jordan?
Chris did. He just made that
I
up.
just made that up.
Wow.
That was great.
That sounds like an old-timey quote.
If you can't reach greatness, you hate greatness.
There you go. That fits you to a T.
It's only funny because it's true.
He had to accept that one. He had no comeback.
Well, I mean, I've never been in the running for being the GOAT quarterback, so
Let's hit the daily gambit, guys.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I would like to give Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers a little bit of credit, though, for sticking with the Chiefs on the road in the rain, having to score a touchdown to tie it up with less than a minute to go.
But I give the same credit to Miami and Tua on the road and the same thing, but I still have an empty feeling at the end of the game. You know? Yeah, I got that L.
Tony's giving me the L.
It's still got L's on
Still
them.
L's.
Valiant fight, though.
Yeah. Fight doesn't get you, Mahomes gets W's, which you don't seem to like. So you'll explain yourself in a little while.
KC -9 over Tampa Bay last night. Chris was the only one who went Tampa. Tony and I went Chiefs. Chiefs won the game 30-24, but they did not cover the spread. So Chris wins that one. Who had more passing yards, Patrick Mahomes or Baker Mayfield?
Homeboy.
Plus 15 for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, still got it.
Chris and I chose Baker Mayfield. Tony said Mahomes. He had 291.
Tony's first victory since Thursday. There we go.
Yes.
Now, I think Cade Otton is the next good fantasy tight end.
He's good right now. He's
Right
not
now,
even
yeah.
You
yes.
say Cade Upton?
Cade Otton.
Oh,
Otton.
Cade Otton.
Cade.
No, I did not say Kate Upton.
I thought that's what you said. Sorry.
Well, I heard she is pretty good at tight end, so, whatever.
Just
What?
keep going. When
I'm
you make
trying.
stupid statements like that, just keep going.
Who had more
Try to-
receiving yards, Travis Kelce or Cade Otton? Kelsey, you guys chose. I chose Otton. Kelsey had 100 yards, so he wins. Gonzaga.
Kelsey had 14 catches as well.
I didn't realize it was 14.
He's heating up.
Yes, he is. And Cade Otton is really their only threat right now
It
with
is.
the wide receivers.
Chris
hurt.
Godwin's out for the year. Mike Evans out for a little bit
while.
longer. Gonzaga against Baylor. Zags were -6 on the
Oh,
spread.
my gosh.
I chose Baylor. It was close.
Yeah, no,
It was close.
It wasn't
101 to 63.
Please
for
tell me you guys
Gonzaga.
saw the highlights from this game.
I didn't get to see them.
So Coach Pugh, who is the head coach of Gonzaga,
Mark Few.
He put it was a Few. Is that how you
Mark
say it?
Few,
Few.
yeah.
Sorry. He put his son in the game, and Baylor got out on a fast break.
Uh-oh.
And they kicked it to the left side, and my man went in with one of the high flying acts, and poor Few, the little Few.
Posterized?
Oh, posterized is not even
Pulverized?
Pulverizes more. And so after the game, he's got the three, I assume seniors and him are up there. And somebody in the press room asked a question about his son getting dunked on. And all three players at the same time went like this. I mean, it was pretty bad.
It is amazing because I bet his son's a really good basketball player, but the level that these guys play at is another level.
I think Coach Pugh said something going like, "Yeah, he got a chance to see how the athleticism
See how it works." Yeah, right. But I hate to tell you, Gonzaga's on the Aztec schedule. And they just beat the number 8 team in the nation by 38 points.
Yeah, it wasn't a close game.
That's
at all.
That makes a statement.
I gotta look this up now because people in the chat are saying it's crazy.
It was that. It was so nasty.
Put it up there, Scrab. I want to see it.
What was the big man for the Clippers back? That he was a part of Lob City. Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan.
Remember DeAndre Jordan caught that lob on that one kid and had him completely horizontal in the air.
Yes.
It was along those lines.
Yeah. Well, those guys are they can get up there.
Let's keep going and then we'll come back to the dunk once I'm ready to show it. The other bets that we had for last night would be the Utah Jazz at the Bulls. Bulls were -8 on the spread.
Yeah.
Chris and I chose the Jazz. Tony chose the Bulls. Jazz won the game, 135-126.
Note to self and everybody else: don't ever take the Bulls and give 8 points.
It's a good point.
Mistake.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Final one: Cavs and the Bucks. Chris and Tony chose the Bucks. I chose the Cavs. Cavs were -7, but they did win 116-114. The Bucks covered though, so you guys win that one. I had a really bad day.
Cavs are 8-0. Keep it rolling. So I think OKC's also undefeated. Two good teams off to good starts. Yes, the final totals last night. Chris 5-1, Tony 4-2. So you rebounded, and Scrabe 1-5.
All right, Chris, do you want to see this dunk? If you're on YouTube, you can watch it. If you're in your car, then you can go watch it later. Please do.
All right, there go. This guy looks pretty athletic who's heading up the floor right now, I must say.
All right, let me get back to this. And
gonna go slow motion. Oh, no.
What happened?
I don't know. Disappeared on you. We just missed the actual dunk.
Here it is.
Here it is. Here's another angle.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That's trouble.
Basically, the guy's belt was at over top of the kid's head, and then he tried to get up and he stumbled back. I mean, it was just a disaster in every way for him.
If you jump and the belt gets above your head,
watch him get up and he stumbles back out of bounds. He almost fell down out of bounds.
If the belt gets above your head, you can only imagine the rest at that point.
Oh man!
I gotta say, good refereeing too, though. No call. You know, I mean, you could have wiped something out there. It would have been a terrible call. This was just a guy so much better than the other guy.
Wrong place, wrong
that,
time.
You just got to let that go.
That is brutal.
Good no call.
That is brutal.
All right, tonight, there's not a lot tonight. The NBA takes the election day off. There's no NBA games at all.
Right? Yeah, you know what? I did know that.
Yeah.
I did know that.
But they can't stop the Maction. Can't stop the
Maction never shuts down.
We got 2 Maction games. I don't know anything about Bowling Green.
Death, taxes, and Maction.
That's right. Bowling Green 14 favored at Central Michigan. Bowling Green's 3-1. Central Michigan's 1-3. 2 touchdown favorite. Central Michigan nipped the Aztecs earlier this year, so I'll take Central Michigan. Tony, who do you like here?
Give me the Chippewas.
Chippewas.
You just say Central Michigan.
Central
right?
Michigan,
Okay,
yeah, very good. Scraby, you could take Bowling Green's nickname if you knew it.
I know this too because my friend went there.
Oh yeah, Atlanta. Adam Klug would like them.
Oh, the Hawks?
No,
Falcons.
One. Yep, there you go.
I didn't realize that, but my friend did go there. I'm going to go Bowling Green for my friend Tim.
For your friend Tim. Okay.
Yeah.
One more Maction game tonight. Miami of Ohio, -11.5 at Ball State. Ball State is at home, but they're getting 11.5. Again, Miami is 3-1 in the standings. Ball State's 2-2. Tony,
wait, Miami is this?
This is Miami of Ohio, not the.
This is football.
Yeah,
they're 3-1.
3-1 in their conference. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, where did all the other
4-4 overall. Tony, who do you like? The Red Hawks or the Ball State Cardinals?
Give me the Red Hawks.
Almost missed that one. Miami, Ohio, -11.5. Scrape?
I have to go with Miami of Ohio.
Miami, Ohio.
Most famous person to ever come out of there?
Ben Roethlisberger, maybe?
Oh, good point.
Wally Zerbiak?
Somebody bigger?
Oh, another one. Sean McVay. Chris rolled his eyes. He went there, right?
I don't know. I know David Letterman went to Ball State, and Brady Hoke coached there, so I'll take Ball State. College basketball tonight. I know who I'm taking here.
Chris put Ball State, just so you know.
Yeah, I did take Ball State.
No, I did not.
All right, college hoops tonight. BYU opens at home as a 33.5-point favorite over the Scottie Pippen-less Central Arkansas.
Scottie Pippen-less.
Yeah, they'd be much better if he was playing there.
They've been Scottie Pippen-less for a while.
They don't have, yeah, right. Central Arkansas had Scottie. They might have a shot, but BYU by 33.5. Tony, Scraby's up.
BYU, hold on. BYU for 33.5, huh?
That's right.
That's what he said.
We also have news on former Padre coach Skip Schumaker.
All right, give it to us in a moment.
I will. I'm gonna go with. I can't. I'll go with BYU. Why not?
You got him. You know I can't.
No.
Tony, I got Central Arkansas.
You already know what it is,
Central
man.
Arkansas. And this one's for you, Scrape.
Oh.
University of San Francisco. The Dons open tonight.
Nice.
22-point favorite over Cal Poly. I assume that's
Slow.
San Luis Obispo.
Cal Poly slow.
Slow. I'll take Scraby's Dons here. USF.
I've been to Cal Poly too many times.
Me too.
Oh, it's you, Tony. Sorry.
Yeah, Tony's up.
Give me the Mustangs.
All right, Cal Poly it is. Scrape, you're going your guys.
I have to
right?
go with my Dons. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Winnipeg is 11-1 in the NHL.
Yeah, I think I bet on the last time they.
You're
they're
bet
one
on the
loss.
only loss. I know. They're at the Utah Hockey Club tonight. Utah's 5-4-3. Winnipeg's favored by 1.5 goals, and it is Tony's turn. Gonna jinx the Jets.
They got the young kid fighting for his pops. I'm gonna take the Utah
UHC
Hockey Club.
You get a goal and a half.
Yeah, baby.
Scrape.
I can't choose the hockey club, so
You
I'm
don't
gonna
have
go
to.
with the Jets. Jets.
I'm gonna
Jets,
take
Jets,
the
Jets.
Hockey Club. And I think that's good. Like I said, it's kind of a light night in the sports world. Election day.
Yes, it is.
NBA is idle today. Maybe the other leagues ought to think about, I don't know.
How many of them are actually in play? I mean, just NBA is really hockey. Maybe is the only other one. Baseball's not playing right now.
Maybe
Football doesn't play on Tuesdays.
Maybe Maction should take the night off.
Maction takes time off for Nova.
Should I get the Maction?
Nobody stops the Maction.
Should I get the Maction commissioner on just so we can talk to him
so
about
we can
it?
berate him for having games tonight?
Yes. M. McKee from our chat is a slow alum.
All right. There we go.
Go Mustangs.
Glad we got
Did John
you
Madden go
guys
there
in
too?
there. He either went there or coached there.
Okay.
Don't recall.
But his name is connected.
I believe it's connected. Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, quick timeout. When we come back, Scraby is going to rip one of the greatest football players of all time. How he's going to do so, we're all going to have to find out after traffic.
From the 90s.
Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Perfect shot. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Birdie. Great shot.
.324 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. Scraby wants to rip someone. I'm not sure who it is, so
I'll give you a clue. This player is a 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP.
All in like 7 years, right?
Shall I go on?
Like yeah, I think.
I'm not questioning his accomplishments.
I think we're talking Pat Mahomes, boy.
Patrick, to you.
Mahomes.
Let's talk about Skip Schumaker real quick before I forget.
Skip. Where's Skip going?
The Texas Rangers have hired former Marlins manager Skip Schumaker as a senior advisor to President of Baseball Operations Chris Young. So he will be in a front office role for this coming
Padre
season.
connections there.
Oh, him and Chris are perfect for each other. They're both high-intensity guys. That'll be good. Skip couldn't get out of Florida fast enough. I mean, the job he did 2 years ago to get that team into the postseason.
Then they fired his GM away from him
GM.
after she got them there with his, the two of them working together.
And he basically went in and said, "Hey, I don't want to. Let's find a way for both of us to part ways where this doesn't look crazy."
I mean, imagine having a major league manager job. There's only 30 of them, and it's such bad conditions that you want out of that opportunity.
It's not ideal.
Yeah,
not
it's
ideal.
not
So
all.
good for Skip. Ends up in a good place.
All right.
So, Scrappy, what is your bone to pick with a guy that you just previously said, you know what, I've come around on him after watching this quarterback Netflix thing, man. I like this guy.
There's a bunch of crazy nicknames here for him that I'd never heard before.
Are you on his Bleacher Report page or his football reference?
Yeah, Mahomes, Fatrick.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Like that one.
That's hilarious, though.
I didn't make that one up. Fat Trick.
Is that it? Is there any
there's
more?
Grim Reaper, Magic Man. You know, the other ones are pretty complimentary.
I don't know
but
how you get the
I don't
ability
think
to
Fat
put
Trick is
nicknames.
complimentary.
That's hilarious. That seems like something that Travis Kelce's called him for a long time.
Yeah.
So
That's cold.
I realize that I
a hater?
am hating on a guy who's very good at his job, who's the best player in his sport.
Wait, real quick. Give it to me again.
Fat Trick.
No, not Fat Trick. Your statement about Scraby and greatness.
Now, if you can't be greatness, you have to hate greatness.
Well,
right, go ahead, Scraby.
The only problem I had with him last night was that he tweaks his ankle, goes to the ground like he lost his leg, has to be carried off the field into the blue medical tent, and then 5 minutes later he's sprinting down the sideline. I mean, come on, dude. I think he loves the spotlight. And he probably did tweak his ankle. I'm not saying he faked an injury.
It's probable that he
I'm
did
not
it.
saying he faked an injury. I don't think he would ever do that.
But you don't think he needed to be carried off
You think
and all the drama
you think
that
he's
went
Paul
with it?
Piercing it?
I think that he definitely thought. Okay. Let me say this.
I wonder where that thought was going to
No,
go.
no.
He thought in his mind, I think I should fake this. I
never said fake.
I think I should
Never said fake.
I think I should embellish this.
I should look like I'm as hurt as possible.
Yes. So he goes
That
to
went
the
through his
tent.
mind, you think?
And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, our season's over." Patrick Mahomes could. I mean, you guys saw it. Didn't you think it was a serious injury with the way he was being carried? Chris, do not give me the no.
Well, he wasn't being carried off. He was on the shoulders like the
and he
guys
couldn't
limp
put any
off.
weight on that foot.
That happens all the time.
Okay,
in the
here's what
NFL.
bothers
And,
me.
You know, go ahead and then say what it bothers you, and then both Tony and I have an
We
explanation.
get the rebuttal. Yeah. So go
What
ahead.
bothers me is that the guy acts like he lost his leg on the field.
Yeah.
And then comes back 5 minutes later and is running all over the field, doing passes like off of his back foot, like everything that he just put everyone through for the 5 minutes previous. It's like it never happened. Like, did he get a new leg when he went in there? Because I think that
He kind of did.
He might have did.
Oh,
He kind of
okay.
did. And Tony will tell you what he got.
We don't know this though.
I mean,
Well,
it's
it looked
pretty
like it.
common sense. You come off, you could barely put weight on it, and then you come back and you're running around like nothing happened. That's not generally because you're faking it. It's because they gave you something.
I understand, but I still.
But he's not the
annoys
only one
me.
that gets something. We just don't.
That's very
We just
true.
don't focus on Patrick Mahomes or the other guys like Patrick Mahomes. But guys are lying on the field all the time.
Yeah,
and then
no
they
one
drag
cares about
off.
them.
And
No,
they
but
come back,
they
too.
give them something, and then they're back in the game. You just don't notice it. There's no trumpets signaling their return.
Because you're also not hating them as much as you're hating on Patrick
I have been told by
Mahomes.
former NFL players, this was a couple years ago, but they did tell me that people weren't going towards the Toradol route anymore because Toradol masks the pain and
that
makes you
clearly has
and-
washed away.
and makes your injury worse by playing on a bad injury.
Let me ask you one thing about Patrick Mahomes, and you have a right, I think, a certain right to kind of think last night was a little much to do about nothing. But he, I thought, earned everybody's respect forevermore playing on the injury that he had a couple of years ago in the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, come on. That was a
think it was an
serious
ankle injury,
injury
wasn't
that
it?
he
No,
couldn't,
I
he
saw it. I
think
seriously
it was
could
an
not
ankle.
walk.
It was an ankle, yeah.
And he won the championship game on that. And then 2 weeks later, won the Super Bowl. I think that forevermore, you cannot ever question his toughness or anything
I
about
didn't
this
question
guy.
his toughness.
What are you
Well-
exactly? Are you? He just embellished it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
What-
the dramatic display of oh.
Let me ask you a question.
After they score a touchdown
Let
and
me-
everybody's like, "Oh, we can't celebrate the touchdown. We gotta go check on Patrick."
Let me ask you a question. And I want you to answer it honestly. If Patrick Mahomes had come back in and then Kansas City was losing that game and he doesn't throw for a touchdown, are you coming on here with the same energy? Or is it because all of that happened and he ended up triumphing at the end?
I would show you the text messages that I were sending in the moment, which were like, "This is ridiculous." You know who got me onto this whole thing and enraged me
Who?
was our former producer, Thomas Andrews. He texted myself and Will.
Thomas is a little bit of a hater too because Patrick is chasing his God.
Yeah,
which
Patrick,
is Tom Brady.
Yeah, Odd Thomas used to root for another guy who faked injuries every time he got breathed upon back there.
Is that Tom Brady?
Yes.
I know that Patrick Mahomes is great. I'm not doubting that.
It
I know
sounds
that
like you just don't want him to be successful because he's having a lot of success.
don't. I just don't need all of the dramatics that he puts out there. It's like
you hate on his
dude.
wife. Now you're hating on him again. You went from not hating to being a fan to now hating again. You hate his wife.
I'll say one thing for Patrick Mahomes. However it is, he gets back up and returns to the game.
Yes, he does.
That's the bottom line.
He sold his soul to Satan.
He posts.
Maybe so.
Remember, I've been saying this all year. Nothing goes wrong for that team ever.
He not only posts, he posts a W.
Yeah.
You know, under the any conditions.
Stop eating the W, Tony. Do you guys agree though that it seems like nothing goes wrong for this team
Right now? Tell me, did it feel like that during the Patriots run? Like nothing ever really went bad for him?
I was.
I mean, you might have been in denial, like all of us were, but nothing really ever went bad for
All
them
of the
either.
things that they say about the Chiefs are the same things they said about the Patriots, are the same things they said about the Cowboys before that, and the Steelers before that, and the Niners before that, and all the way back to the undefeated Dolphins, and even the Packers of Super Bowl 1 and 2. That's how you win. Everything goes your way, and when it doesn't, you make it go your way.
The chat's telling me to stop crying.
Yeah, I think you.
You know what, chat? I knew that was going to happen.
The chat is usually on point. You should take the advice.
I absolutely 100% knew that was going to be a response, but I just can't say. Oh, my leg! Hey, everybody, cheer for me! I'm on the sideline. Patrick Mahomes is the guy like Chris when he walks into the press box. I'm here.
You've got to stop saying that because the more you say it, the more they're going to believe that actually happens. Please.
Fine.
All right, let's get to break. On the other side, more Gwynn and Chris. What we got coming up?
We should have the Fantabulous.
I was hoping he would forget.
See, this is how Scraby plays this game. He doesn't even put it in on the rundown.
No, he's hoping
he
we'll
left
forget,
it blank so that we could pretend like it wasn't going to happen. We're doing it anyway. Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show next.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
Great shot. Great shot. Great shot. Perfect shot. Eagle. Great shot. Great shot. Great shot. Perfect shot. Eagle. Great shot. Great shot. Great shot.
.338 is the time. Casello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby. Oh. My left earbud found its way into my shirt pocket. Now it's back where it belongs.
In your ear.
Correct.
Boom.
All right, we're going to get into it here shortly. We've got a Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show coming up. Tony has won, I believe, the last 3 of these. This is a category, Scraby, that is right up your alley.
Oh.
You have no excuses.
Zero
excuses unless you just...
I think that's a choke right there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We'll see what happens. I'll give you the category.
What are the names of people in your family?
Yeah, right. God, my dad, I can't think of his name. Ah! Let's check traffic first.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the brand new Front Wave Arena. Got a few problems here, guys. One of them is this collision on northbound 15 before the 805. It's over to the right shoulder, but emergency crews have got that right lane blocked. Also traveling on southbound 5 past Garnett. We're getting reports of a small brush fire starting over the right shoulder. In the North County, westbound 78, Rancho Santa Fe off-ramp, a collision. Also east 78 before Sycamore. Crash over to the right shoulder. The San Diego Clippers are ready for an exciting season at Front Wave Arena, and their home opener is this Friday, November 8th. FanFest starts early on the plaza with activities for the whole family. Start a new tradition and join us for the fun. Grab your tickets at frontwavearena.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, all you beautiful people out there, it's time to play one of our favorite games of the week.
All right!
We like to call it...
Ooh, I'm gonna go...
Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show! And
Gambit starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go. If you're not familiar with this game, it's a contest between Tony and Scraby. I'll give them a category. Today, they're going to be 21 correct answers for the gentleman to try and come up with. And they'll go back and forth naming correct answers. If they repeat one, which I still don't think has ever happened.
No, I've done it.
Oh, you did
I've
that one
definitely
time.
done it, yeah.
I think you did. And or if they get one wrong, they get a strike. First person to get 11 correct will be the winner today. And you get to play along out there. See how well you do on this category. I mean, this category, Scrabe, come on. It's made for you.
You say that.
21 correct answers. What I'm looking for, very simply, is the top 7 quarterbacks, top 7 running backs, top 7 wide receivers right now, halfway through the season in fantasy football point scoring.
Ooh.
There you go. We're 9 weeks in, 9 weeks to go. So I thought we'd check in on this category. Fantasy football points. Now, keep in mind, some guys have played an extra game, right? Some teams have played 9, some have played 8. That may factor into your guessing here. But it is not average points per game. It is total points scored. You're looking for the top 7 quarterbacks, top 7 running backs, top 7 wide receivers, 21 correct answers in all. Scrape, you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right, start us off.
Saquon's Barkley.
Saquon's Barkley is the number 3 ranked running back. Gave yourself a bell pretty quick there.
Number 3. Wow.
He's number 3 at running back. We didn't talk about his play the reverse leap over. That was
crazy.
Did you see his
pretty impressive?
The
I must
camera
say.
of the team
of
watching
the sideline. That was awesome.
All of the players and coaches just turned around in awe of
Yeah,
it.
that was quite a move. All right, Scraby's got Barkley to start us. Tony?
How about King Henry?
Derek's number 1 at the running back position.
Yeah, I figured.
He's over 200 points already, 204.
Scraby, who'd you say first?
He said Saquon's Barkley.
Saquon's.
Yeah. So it's 1-1, 19 correct answers remaining. 7 quarterbacks are left. 5 running backs are left, and 7 wide receivers. Scraby. Who do you like here?
He's on one of my teams, Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson is also on Tony's team, I think, in our league.
Yes.
Garrett is number 3 at the wide receiver position. That is correct. Very good. Scraby leads 2-1. Tony.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson. I was surprised, but he's number 4 at the running back position. That is correct.
Oh, that is surprising.
You're looking at top 7 in each of the categories, or each of the positions. 7 quarterbacks left, 4 running backs are left, 6 wide receivers are left, tied at 2. Scraby.
This just came to me.
Don't hurt yourself this early in the game.
Just came to you. I don't know.
He just crushed me in fantasy. J.K. Dobbins?
J.K. Dobbins. Really?
He's done a lot this year.
Yeah, I thought you'd have a little better guess than that.
Really? He's not on the list.
7, 8, 9, 10,
Oh,
11th.
gosh. Oh, man.
He's 11th.
Oh,
at
no.
running back. Scraby's got his first
no.
strike. J.K. Dobbins.
Oh.
Having a nice season, but just not in the top 7 at the running back position. Wow. All right. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Tony, chance to take your first lead here.
How about Alvin Kamara?
I just wrote it down.
That's right. He's in 2nd among running backs. So the top 4 you named at running backs, and those 4, Derrick Henry, Kamara, Barkley, Bijan, Robinson. Those are your top 4. You've also named 1 wide receiver so far. Scraby, still a pretty wide open board, but you do have a strike.
You got a
in
strike,
the early
Scrabe.
going.
Got a strike, buddy.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
What about the gunslinger, Baker Mayfield?
Baker's
2nd.
I was going to say,
in
he's thrown a
quarterbacks.
lot of touchdowns.
Number 2. And Lori, my wife, has him on her team. Does not ever use him. She's got another guy who's pretty good, but I'm just saying it's
Who's
interesting.
that? Oh, you can't say.
I'm not going to say. But, yeah, Baker's number 2, and I don't think she's used him all year. All right, next up, Tony Gwynn in a 3-3 tie, but Scraby has a strike.
How about Jettas? Justin Jefferson.
JJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's second in wide receiver scoring. Just ahead of Garrett Wilson there. So Tony's got a 4-3 lead. Scraby has a strike. Scrape. Scrape's struggling. I thought you would just breeze through this category.
Especially considering I am winless in one of my leagues, so I don't even know how this.
Are you really still? No,
I got one.
You got one.
I got one. I actually got two now.
I hope this is right.
Two now. Oh no. Why are you even risking it right now? Just take an
Well,
obvious one.
Josh Allen?
Yeah, he's right.
All right.
Josh Allen's
I'm
right.
just so scared. I'm just so scared.
Yes, you are. That's my wife's other quarterback. That's why she's using him instead of Mayfield. But Mayfield ranks second. Josh Allen ranks fourth. The quarterback position. All right, you got 5 quarterbacks left, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers. 13 correct answers total. Tony Gwynn Jr.
Why don't we go ahead and give me the soon-to-be MVP in Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. Okay. 228. That is more points than any other player in fantasy football right now. Number 1 at the quarterback position. Tony leads 5-4. Scraby.
I'm struggling.
The number 1 wide receiver still open.
He's still there, man.
And
I have no idea.
The number 3 quarterback is still open. It's a little trickier after that.
All right, I'm going to go Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Why would you go with Joe Burrow?
Because he's thrown a lot of touchdowns the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's 5th. He's in there.
Hey, what was that
correct.
over there? Peanut Gallery?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Otherwise known now as Macaulay Culkin, probably forevermore. We're tied at 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Why can I not think
mere
of the
fact
best
that
receiver?
This guy had him and then redrafted.
He's
him
had him for 6 years on his team, and he can't think of him.
Jamar Chase, please.
You got him.
He
Jamar
hasn't
Chase.
been that great.
Number 1.
He's
the
just
wide
number
receiver
one.
position.
He's just number 1.
What has he done for me?
I don't know. He scored 15 more
Clearly-
points than any other wide receiver.
Clearly, you're not appreciative of what he's
Yes,
done
you
for you
are.
because he's number 1 in the
Why don't you
league.
trade him to me, Scrape?
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
give
take
you.
him.
I got somebody down the list here. I can give you back in return.
This is unfortunate how much I'm struggling on this.
6-5, Tony, and Scrape needs one here to even it up. The number 3 quarterback's open. Number 4 and 5 wide receivers are open.
Jalen Hurts.
There you go,
Jalen
sir.
Hurts, come on, he better be there. I heard a bell. I did not hear whether that was correct or not.
Oh.
He's 6th. Barely got in. Not that high up. Ties it up for you, though, Scrape. 6-6, 1 strike, 9 correct left. Still got 2 quarterbacks left, 3 receivers. I'm sorry, 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 4 receivers remaining. We're looking for top 7 in each of those 3 categories. 6-6, Scraby has a strike. Tony's up.
How about
my neighbors?
As
Your
in
neighbors.
Malik Neighbors.
I just was not sure.
Malik Neighbors.
He's written down.
Your neighbors. That's not right. He's not in the top 7.
He missed too many games. I'm so thankful I didn't say that one.
Neighbors 8, 9, 10,
Well,
11,
you can't afford
12.
to say because you already had a strike
13th.
there.
Neighbors is 13th right now.
Son of a gun.
Slumping a little of late has been
Well, he
Neighbors.
had missed 3 games because of concussion.
Missed some
so.
games. That hurt him, yes. All right, so now we're right back where we started. 6-6, 1 strike apiece. Scraby.
What you got, Scrape?
What you got?
What you got, player?
He's got his eyes closed over there. He's like meditating, trying to think of answers.
Thinking.
Jaden Daniels.
3rd at the quarterback position. That is correct.
Oh, man.
You got him.
I would give them Christian McCaffrey for Jaden Daniels today.
You would?
Yes.
I don't think so.
That's silly.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey hasn't played a game this season.
He's
We'll
going
play this
to.
week. You're going to be eating those words.
All right, Scraby's got the lead.
How about Scraby's quarterback?
I thought about him, but
Is that your guess?
That's
Brock
my guess.
Purdy.
Yes.
Brock Purdy, 8, 9, 10th.
Dang.
Not in. Second strike for
Dang
Tony.
it.
Wow. All of a sudden, the worm has turned here. Stay with us, too. At the top of the hour, we'll update you. There is a bit of a story out here on... Bit of a breaking story on Shohei Ohtani that's worth passing along at the top of the hour.
What did they discover about that whole thing earlier this year?
His wing.
We'll talk about it, but first let's finish this
We're
up.
talking Ipe.
Scraby's got the lead 7-6, and it's your turn, Scraby. Can you capitalize on this big lead you got now?
Give it up, Scrabe.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
He missed some time, too.
What's he play?
Running back.
RB. Joe Mixon is averaging 21.4 per game. That's third most, but he's not overall in the top 7.
Wait, what?
He missed a couple games, I guess. He's not there.
He got hip tackle.
Wait.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
You said he was just third in the NFL?
And he's third in running back average. But again, this is not average. This is total points.
Points, buddy.
It's a buzzer.
You know, this pick is tough right here because I got 2 strikes.
Tony's got to get this to stay alive. He's down 7-6. Scraby, you could still win here if Tony doesn't get either the 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers that are remaining.
Give me C.D. Lamb.
Tony did not hesitate there, even with his back against the wall, and he delivers. C.D. Lamb is 4th.
Really?
He's 4th.
Lammer.
So it's 7-7, 2 strikes apiece. If you miss, Scraby, Tony will still have to get one correct.
Oh,
we'll have to finish out the round.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I know, but I like to keep it interesting. You got the number 7 quarterback left. You got 5, 6, 7 running back, 5, 6, 7 wide receiver. That's who you have to choose from. 7 correct answers. Scraby, can you name one of those 7 high-scoring fantasy players?
Pressures. This is where you do your best work, Scraby.
Under pressure.
This is where you do your best work.
And he doesn't help you either, does he, Scrabe?
What?
This is where you heard me. This is where you do your best work, buddy.
You heard me.
Who you got, Scrabe?
I'm thinking.
Okay, well.
Time is a tick, and it's 3:53. You know we got a break here soon.
Tick.
You already know it. It's in your head.
It's no one on the Dolphins.
Tick.
You mean the Dolphins is the only team you've gone through so far?
No, I've gone through
take a while.
I've gone through all of them. I'm blanking on everything right now.
Blanking, everyone.
All right, I'm just gonna guess a guy who's thrown for a lot of yards so far this year, and I'm going to go
with
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, 12th.
Hey!
Not in there. All right, Tony, for the win. Otherwise, we'll take a break and go to overtime.
How about
for the win? Tony needs to name one.
St. Brown.
No, he's got like 2 points in like 5 games.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is 9th.
Ah!
That is a strike. You guys want to try to finish? No, we're at the top of the hour. Have to carry it through. Somebody's going to have to get one right in overtime.
Dang it!
We are tied at 7. There are 7 correct answers remaining. How many of them do you think you know out there? Got the update on Shohei, and we got a little Chris versus the fan. So a lot to get done when we come back.
Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby. Just chilling. We got a...
We're not chilling, man. We're in the middle of one of the great Fantabulous game shows of all time.
This is one of the better ones, for sure.
Yeah.
Shall we get back to it right now?
Nah, I think you want to give this.
Okay. Yes, we do
give
have
this
some
first.
news.
We got a little Padre news before we get to Ohtani and the finish of the game.
This is breaking news from 97.3 The Fan.
Just want to make sure everybody's aware.
He could not wait to press that.
Yeah.
According to Kevin Acey 5 minutes ago, the Padres and manager Mike Shildt are finalizing a 2-year extension that will run through 2027.
Hey, that's good news.
Great news.
So no more lame duck.
No.
How about Mike Shildt, 56 years of age? Looks good for 5'6".
Oh, I thought you were talking about his height. I was like, he's definitely not 5'6".
Good
No,
for 5'6".
56. Yeah, he does.
He does.
Looks good. All right, Mike Shildt, 2-year extension on the verge.
Let's get back to business.
Good news, but we can't wait any longer.
We'll get more into other thoughts on that in a second.
Yes, that and the Shohei news, which again isn't earth-shattering, but newsworthy.
I'd rather talk about Mike Shildt.
I'd rather finish up the game. Go to the sound. Give us the...
Where will you go, Scraby?
I racked... If you ask Chris, I just sat in my chair and stared at the ceiling.
I tried to distract him. I talked about a movie, Tony, to try to throw him
I was
off
like,
the
good.
scent.
I don't care. I'm just trying to think over here.
All right, we have 7 correct answers for Scraby. We have 7 for Tony. We have 7 correct answers remaining. The category today, naming the top 7 fantasy point scorers at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. Now, what's left is the number 7 quarterback or the number 5, 6, or 7 running back, the number 5, 6, or 7 wide receiver. Any of those will give you the lead. We're basically in overtime here. We're going to play till one gets one right and one misses. But Scraby goes first. Let's try to put the pressure on Tony if he can come up with a correct answer.
All right, I sat here.
You had the whole break to think about this
I
answer.
don't really have any good answers.
Don't have a guaranteed winner?
But what I'm going to say is, in one of my leagues, Jahmyr Gibbs has scored me a ton of points, and that's the only guy I could come up with.
So is that your guess?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs is 5th.
Whoa!
Oh, pressure is on you, boy.
That puts the pressure on Tony.
Oh.
Scraby comes up with 1. Jahmyr Gibbs having a nice year for Detroit.
Give me
Tony doesn't wait around.
Nah, I'm just going for it. Give me Draco London.
I swear, Tony, I would be so nervous down to my back against the wall, and I just throw the answer out, and it's right. Drake London.
Woo!
He's 5th.
Pressure back on you, son.
He's 5th in wide receiver.
It's also crazy because he's been on my team all year, and he's been underwhelming.
You clearly don't respect your players. You got Jamar Chase, who you said has done nothing for you all
Except
year
he's
long.
number 1 at that position.
Absolutely
he's
nothing.
number 1. And now Drake London. He's done nothing for you.
You know, I worked my brain so hard for that 1.
Yeah, now get back in the saddle, buddy.
Jamar Chase, the only person who has more yardage than him this year is JJ, but Jamar Chase has more touchdowns, so he's got more fantasy points.
So what is the breakdown of what we have
left? Okay, what we have
left
is the number 7 quarterback, 6 and 7 running back, 6 and 7 wide receivers. So you guys have got all the good ones, but these guys are all good. I'll say that. Got 1 quarterback. You want to go there, Scrabe? You want to go for a running back? You want to go for the wide receiver?
I think I'm going to go for a running back. I cannot think of this quarterback for the life of me.
All right, go for the running back.
And this might be the game, guys.
I still got to go after
you. If you miss, then he's got to get one.
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. He's number 1 overall pick.
He's
wasn't
not.
he?
There's no way he's in this.
7th. He's in. Just enough.
I thought it was over.
That's crazy.
I thought it was over. Life. I have life.
Oh, my God.
I can't with this guy.
All right, Tony, you got to get 4 guys left. You got to come up with one. You got 1 quarterback, 1 running back, or 2 wide receivers remaining.
I got to go with my guy. Devontae Adams. You got to be one of those guys.
Devontae Adams, nowhere close. It's not even, no. Sorry, Tony. He's way, way down the list.
Does that mean?
That means the winner today is Scraby. Can you save that yell to go along with my Washington football team yell?
Sure, because that was a good one.
It's just as crazy.
Wow, Tony's not having it, but I am. I honestly thought the game was over. I was prepared to be in a bad mood.
Could I have guessed Nico Collins? Would he still be in there?
Thought about him too.
Not enough for
so
Nico.
that would have been my.
Here
What
are the
about
ones you could have got.
Terry
AJ
McLaurin.
Brown?
Who'd you say?
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin is 7th. That
That's
would have been
insane.
correct. Chris Godwin is 6th. That was almost impossible because he's now out for the year. Kyron Williams, who's on your team, is 6th.
Dude, you had 5 guys.
And Kyler Murray, who's on your team, is the quarterback.
That is a lie because he has done nothing for me this year.
You said that about Jamar Chase,
He scored 3 points for me on Sunday.
Basically, I played you this week. Kyler Murray, Kyron Williams, and Terry McLaurin, who all were not named, are all on your team. Correct?
Wow, yes, you're right.
So, there you go. But
Dang.
Scraby is the winner in overtime today.
Woo-wee.
A 9-8 thriller in the Fantabulous Sports Game Show. Very good.
It feels good.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Matt Money Miller.
Yes, this is Matt Money Smith.
I know. I was just going there again. All right, so I'll pick up for Tony because he's hurting a little bit. I understand it.
That's a bunch of BS.
Sorry.
I mean, Devontae Adams, if we're being honest, was
Devontae's way down there.
You know what, Scrabe? I don't want to hear it from you, buddy.
He doesn't want to hear it, and I don't blame him.
This is the greatest day of my life.
Congratulations.
It doesn't take much.
That was a nice win.
Wow.
That was a nice
Doesn't
win.
take much.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
Any more Mike Shildt thoughts before we have to talk about Shohei?
This shouldn't be like a surprise. Like
I think this is kind of what we were expecting, right? But it's always good to have what you're expecting to actually happen.
For sure.
So Shildt returns.
Does that mean that the bench coach or the hitting coach and Ruben Niebla? I mean, they're still.
I don't think it means that at all.
That's the next one we should be waiting for is Ruben Niebla. Yeah. I don't think Victor is up for.
So we're just looking for Ruben, and that's a big one.
Ruben is the next man up, I would think.
Mike Shildt, by the way, has gone to the playoffs in every season that he has managed a full season.
Wow.
Not bad. 19, 20, and 21 with the Cardinals. 24 with the Padres.
The man can coach.
He's a pretty good manager.
Or manage, sorry.
Manager. The Shohei Ohtani news, he did undergo shoulder surgery today after throwing his shoulder out.
It's labrum.
His labrum on that slide in the World Series. A week or so ago. No timetable necessary for Shohei's return, but the guy has his left shoulder surgery. He had right shoulder, or was it shoulder or elbow, for his pitching.
It was Tommy John.
Where was the elbow?
Yeah.
So the guy's like falling apart right and left, and he'll probably still be the best player in the league next year.
Who's that?
Shohei.
Yeah. Well, he'll be pitching again next year. So that's the other thing that's going to be amazing about Shohei is that I think we all kind of forgot because he was just an unbelievable DH this year. Is now he's going to be pitching it, and my thought is, how does that affect the type of offense we saw last year? Like,
it's got to affect it some.
I would assume a little bit.
Can't go
right?
54, 59 again.
I mean, he certainly ain't going to be running like that, I would think, as a
starting pitcher.
As a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
You know, especially now that shoulder run come out of place now. I don't know that he's going to feel comfortable putting that offhand down on feet first slides. I doubt he's going to start sliding head first all of a sudden. So, yeah, so he's going to get fixed up. It's just a lot of things I've thought of in terms of Shohei.
Agreed. Although now with the shoulder surgery, this will not affect him coming back to start next year?
Nah, if anything, it's going to affect his swing, right? We saw how it hampered him in the postseason, or in what was that, the World Series, when you could see him taking that left hand off the bat early so that he didn't get too extended.
That had to do a lot with his 2 for 19.
Right. No, there's no doubt. But from a pitching standpoint, I mean, that's his glove hand. I mean, he can.
And he's one of the best pitchers in the league when he's pitching. My goodness. All right. There's our update for the day. We got Chris versus the fans. We don't have a lot of players yet. So
no, we're going to have to wait till the next
We'll wait till the next segment. We'll give you the phone number again.
833-288-0973.
Yes, a good day to play some Chris versus the fans. You can get in. Today's prize is a pair of tickets. You have to take Scraby to Tom Segura this Friday at Pechanga Arena.
Since we have a few minutes, we can talk about our Lakers. My Lakers getting beat up. Only about a 2-minute conversation. We don't have to expand on it.
Get too deep into it?
Yeah,
okay.
we don't need to. They went into Detroit and got beat up.
Got ambushed.
Yeah, Anthony Davis ended up getting a little nicked up at the end. Questions on whether he'll play Wednesday. But he said he will play Wednesday against, I can't remember who it is against. But
that's not worse than losing to Utah, which hadn't won a game.
Yeah, no.
At home, by the way.
When you put it like that,
yeah, the Bulls.
I guess it's a little bit.
That's why I say the Bulls have won 3 games. That's 3 more than I expected them to win. So
yeah,
but yeah, they're bad. No NBA games tonight. They take the day and night off for the election. We send it back to Tony Gwynn.
Scrape
to finish up the set.
Your guy, your guy is coming back this week, Mr. McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Excited about that?
Yeah, you guys weren't as nice to me about him a little bit earlier, but yes, I'm very excited.
What were we not nice to you? You brought it up and said, I would trade him for Jaden Daniels now.
Yes, you did.
And we said, what?
So you would have 2 quarterbacks.
Nobody criticized McCaffrey. We criticized you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, get your criticism correct.
I'm just living on top of the world right now, guys, because I won Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
Hey, it was a good showing for you, buddy.
Hold on, I got to move all the questions and all that real quick before we get to traffic. Boom, boom.
All right, well, why don't I get us to break?
All right, there we go.
and you get us to traffic.
From the 97.3 The
Gwynn and Chris. Mike Shildt is back. The Padres just came down a few minutes ago. Kevin Acee reporting it. Mike Shildt on the verge of signing a 2-year contract extension. He'll remain in the dugout for the Padres. I wonder, we go to the chat because we're going to play some Chris versus the fans here on the phone lines. But, I mean, is anybody, upset about that? Is it just universal that, we all want Mike Shildt back?
No one's upset about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's weird in a lot of ways. Managers very rarely are universally supported. But I think Mike Shildt is. I don't know anybody out there who would say, oh, no, you got to go. You got to get somebody else for this team. He took him as far as he can take him.
Yeah, I mean, his extension is through 27, right? So he's got 25, 26, and then they can
27,
they can renegotiate or whatever.
Yeah.
It's better than not knowing who your manager is going to be.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you would think almost every man, even there's probably a Dodger fan or two who wishes they would move on from Dave Roberts. But I don't think anybody in San Diego, must be somebody.
Oh, there are people.
But you know what I mean?
Definitely
he's pretty
people out
universally,
there, for sure.
We're happy. We all wanted Mike Shildt back, and I'm with that. So I'm in the same book.
I love it.
Awesome.
Right. Gives a little bit of familiarity for the guys going into spring training. Does that make a difference, Tony? If you're going into spring training and you don't know your manager, does that make you a little nervous?
Did the familiarity work for the Padres after 2022?
Who was their man? Oh, Bob Melvin. No, it didn't.
So
it didn't.
You know what? If you
poured cold water all over that one, Tony.
If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's.
Good.
Authentic Mediterranean cuisine. Coronado, La Jolla, dining, takeout options, Spiro's Cuisine.com.
I just panicked and dumped
This guy's
Tony.
just dumping for no reason.
Did you really?
I thought he said the SH.
So we didn't hear what he said to you?
I was trying to say good change, and then you started your read, so I stopped, and he thought I said something else, apparently.
I have a question. Did you dump the Spiro's ad I just read?
I think he did.
Sorry.
Read it again.
If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit Spiro'sCuisine.com. That's how we all get paid,
I do know.
By us reading that stuff.
But I would much rather us have jobs.
You need to actually get that stuff on the air.
I would much rather us have jobs than no jobs at all.
All right, let's play some.
I got a question.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
what's
sir.
up?
Before we get to Chris with the fans,
everybody happy we got a manager for another 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just wanted to triple
That's
check.
what I was just saying.
Yeah, no, I know you were.
I'm surprised that everybody... I'm surprised, though.
Yeah.
Because managers aren't usually universally
Well,
known.
Katrina says, Tony, right to the point. In jugular.
I just wanted to make sure. I certainly think that is a great move. All right, we digress.
Chris versus fans, Chris?
No, I don't know. Let's talk about Mike Shildt a little more. I'm just making sure everybody's happy.
I think everybody's happy.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy, he's dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, pair of tickets to see Tom Segura this Friday at Pachanga. Shouldn't we make it a 4-pack? And the only reason I say that is because nobody won yesterday.
That's right.
We can't do that.
Oh, we can't do that?
Against the rules.
I
Against the
was
rules.
trying. I was trying.
That's a nice thought, but I don't have that power.
No
Against
good.
the rules.
All right, give us the rules then, sir.
Let's see. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into the first question.
That was terrible.
Everything today has been
That was
interesting.
not good. We had been harmonizing the last
Yeah, that's true.
times.
Let's try it again. If you're a first-time player, let us know before we get into it, and you will get the first question for free today. Chris versus the fans is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Let's go. Great bounce back. Can I get a contestant, Mr. Scraby?
Yes, you can get a contestant.
Where'd the die go? Do you have it, Tony?
I got it.
Oh,
I
that's
had it.
fine.
Here you go.
No worries.
Let's go with Chris first.
You dropped it?
Totally dropped it.
Hello, Chris. How are you, brother?
Yeah. Hello.
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 Here we go. First question.
Big Shildt.
He's a big Shildt lover.
Oh, good. Good. We all are big Shildt lovers.
So, Chris, you heard that Mike Shildt signed a 2-year extension.
I had heard that while I was on hold a few times.
Very good.
Awesome. Here we go. First question.
Stupid.
We're the worst.
Yeah, you are.
What team had the worst record in baseball last season?
Oh, man.
It'll come to you, Chris.
Take your time.
Will Venable's team.
Okay.
And who's
Chicago White Sox.
There you go. It came to him. It came to him.
Question number 2. Who is the current head coach of Alabama football?
Ugh.
Not good. Is it the Boer?
I think you get that. I think that's good enough. DeBoer will work for me. No?
Oh, Scravy was trying to hate on you. He didn't
You were
want to
going to
give
hate
it
on
to
that?
It was.
That's
He
a
was-
tough one.
He was trying
I
to.
gave it to you.
Here we go.
Gave it to you.
Under pressure.
It was under pressure.
Under
for sure.
pressure, Chris. You owe us if you win this. Because Scravy was going to.
He was about to. He's
He's
to
going to
buzz
zap. He's looking for any reason to zap. You got to remember
you.
that.
Here we go.
Zap.
Question number 3.
Kalen DeBoer.
Who is the starting QB of the Georgia Bulldogs?
Oh, God. It's a good one.
Oh, that's easy. Carson. Beck? Carson Beck.
Carson Beck.
We need to have a talk amongst ourselves, guys, before I buzz yes or no.
He said that's easy.
What's his name?
Carson
No,
Beck.
that is his name, but I feel like there's some funny business.
Chris,
you
you're
guys
not
feel
cheating,
funny
are you?
business?
I'm not cheating.
No.
Oh, that is the cheating voice right there.
It's totally not the cheating
Isn't that
voice.
the cheating voice, Tony?
I'm not cheating.
I've never cheated. Oh, Carson Beck. You say he's the quarterback of Georgia, huh?
We have no
Chris,
proof.
I'm totally sticking up for
We
you.
have no proof, so he's got to
I
get
don't
the
know
win.
why.
All right, Chris, you win, but if
Thank
you
you,
cheated,
Chris,
you're gonna meet your maker on
Yeah.
later
It'll
on in
the
life.
Karma's
The
coming
karma
for
will
you,
get him
Chris.
if he did, but I don't think he did. I think he came up
I'm
with
gonna
it.
get to the pearly gates.
It's gonna keep you
Remember
out.
that one time on 97.3?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be standing there and be like, I knew it. I knew it.
Hold on the
All
line,
right, hang
Chris.
on the line.
The only
Chris.
reason I'm going to support him there is because it took about that long for me to think of the guy's name,
Yeah,
and
but-
I just watched him on TV the other day, and it was a little bit at the tip of my tongue, but I didn't have it right away, so I could see that.
I'm not quick to claim somebody's cheating, but he did say, "Oh, this is easy." Carson.
Oh, okay, so that's where we have the okay.
Beck.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hey, but you know what? We don't have any proof. So
Chris says he didn't cheat.
what does the
we
chat
believe
say?
him.
What's the chat saying? right
The
now?
chat will come after him
You
for
know?
sure.
Oh, wow. Ed McKee says if Elo's cheater radar isn't going off, I trust it.
Ah, there it is.
Why would you trust-
Well,
why would you
I didn't
trust
hear him say what you just described, Tony. I just heard him kind of thinking about it because I was thinking about it too.
Scravy said I'll be standing right there and be like, "Yep, I remember."
I knew it. I knew it.
That I believe. You will remember it for the rest of your days.
Standing right next to the pearly gates.
Jacob-
Election day 2024, that guy Chris.
We got mixed results on whether or not.
Oh, so
Most
there
are
are some
saying
people-
that he's okay.
All right. Well, hey, most are saying he's okay. He's okay.
All right.
Get that man qualified.
Get him qualified to go see
I'm gonna have to
Tom
ask you a couple more
Segura.
questions when we're
He's got to
screening
go through the
phone call.
security questions.
That's
now.
right, P, sir. I need to check your history.
Chris, what's your favorite novel? What's your mother's maiden name?
Can I please have your blood type?
I think Tom Segura should call him out at the concert Friday night.
Right now, my buddy Jesse Agler is somewhere very, very excited.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
The Miami Hurricanes are in that top 4 right now in the college football.
Oh, that's right.
playoffs
They're
that
rating
just
that.
dropped.
Yeah, we haven't been. We did not keep the TVs on around here today. I think for obvious reasons. So we didn't follow the college football countdown rankings.
My guy Dan Lannon.
Number one?
It was Lanning.
Yes.
What did I say? Lanning?
Yeah,
Lannon.
you said Lannon.
Okay.
Is he number one?
I don't know if he's number 1. I'm trying to get to it now. All of a sudden, ESPN doesn't want to give me the
They
actual
probably haven't.
story.
They probably haven't given all the teams yet because they do this thing, right, where they count
Oregon,
down.
number 1.
Oh, there it
Ohio
is.
State, number 2. Georgia, 3. Miami, 4. Texas, 5. That's where it's at right now in the big college football rankings. It just posted here.
You know, Kirk Kenny and I talked earlier today, and
yeah, that's right.
he had some pretty interesting things to say about like what's going to
he was
happen with
looking
the college
for,
football playoff and what he was looking for, and basically
You wrote this down on like your
I
notebook.
did. Should I save it for like 5:20 because I think it's a good conversation to have. Kirk basically thinks that there's going to be so much controversy with the next couple, or at least this college football playoff, that they're going to change it in the future to make sure there's no controversy.
As he explained it in better detail.
Yeah.
Basically, right now, the Mountain West is due that last spot.
Boise State's the highest ranked team.
And so what's going to happen is, let's say Boise State wins out, which is very likely.
Yep.
They're going to end up in that playoff, which is going to leave one of those highty-tighty SEC schools out of the mix.
Hopefully Alabama. Not that I'm rooting against you.
I actually hope it's not Alabama because if it is Alabama, rules are 1,000% getting changed at that point.
Fair point.
If it's one of the underlinks in the SEC, you might have a chance of keeping it.
Yeah, this has been the thing forever. When they used to just have 2 teams meet in one game, the 3rd ranked team was mad. Then they had 4, and the 5th ranked team was mad.
Right.
Now they have 12, and the 13th and 14th ranked teams are going to be mad.
But
it's just never going to change.
If the 12 teams are the best 12 teams in the country, then I can understand why a team would be angry that the Mountain West is taking a spot.
But that's the thing.
But Boise State was ranked 12th in the AP poll. I didn't see where they came in this poll. But Boise State deserves a shot.
Right.
And that's to me, that's why you have a playoff, to include people. Right now, they're 12th in the playoff rankings. So if you did take, quote, the best 12, they'd be in. I don't think anybody really has an argument.
The thing will be,
but somebody will argue.
The thing will have to be, as long Boise State, whoever has that spot, is going to have to remain competitive in these playoffs. Because if they go out there,
yes, you're right. If they
get boat
like Liberty last year or whatever,
they're going to be. It's going to be easy to change these.
Well, right
rules.
now Boise State would be 12. They would play Texas, number 5. Texas would be a big favorite.
Yes, they would.
But I'm not going to put it past Boise. Hopefully to stay with them a little bit. Anyway,
we just need those matchups.
You need to give
close.
them a game.
Yes,
that's right. Right now, the teams on the outside are 13 SMU, big deal. 14th Texas A&M, sorry. 15th ranked LSU. I mean, Alabama's in. They're 11 right now.
LSU could be. That's probably the other SEC team that can raise.
That's the one that Kirk used for an example that if LSU gets kicked out. But then he was also saying that since it's going to cause controversy, they're going to change it to the Big Four conferences and leave out a 5th.
And that's what everybody was worried about.
And the Pac-12, the new Pac-12, is not going to.
They won't be considered a power conference.
Exactly,
at that point.
because they're a new conference, just the same name.
That is what everybody was terrified about when they started, because they made it. They made it appeasing to the public because they included the underdog, which most of us want to see. But I think everybody was worried that after a little bit of time they would make it so that we end up right back in the same spot where the big Power 4 schools are the only ones participating in it. And so.
Well, hopefully they can keep room for the rest of the world in one spot. Because if they don't, then the rest of the world might as well just break off from the Big Four. No reason to even be in it.
That could be where this thing is
I
headed.
don't disagree.
Yeah. All right. We got to get to break. When we return. Oh, this is you, Chris. Sorry.
When we return. Big 5, I believe.
Indeed. Yes, Big 5, and I actually do have a Boise State story. So,
all right, for all the boy,
keep it in Boise State.
If you're locked into Boise State, you've come to the right place today. 97.3 The Fan.
Scraby's got a big 5 for us coming up. He didn't have a big 5 there for a sec.
I grilled Chris, the contestant, on whether or not he was cheating.
I can vouch for my man Chris, first and foremost. I know Chris very well. I didn't realize that was him on the phone.
Oh, you know the player.
I actually know the player.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Well,
trustworthy guy.
Let me tell you something. Scraby, there's a reason a lot of people don't like the guy.
What did he do?
He gets on the phone and he goes, "Come on, Chris, you can tell me. Did you cheat?"
I did say that.
And Chris was like, "No." He was incredulous that you would even ask again.
He sent me a text. I was outside the room.
You were. I had no idea about this.
I had no idea he was on the phone. And he said, 1, I didn't cheat. 2, how long I got to sit on hold? And
sorry, Chris.
So at first I was like, what is he talking about? And I texted him. I said, was that you? And he was like, yes. So good man. I known him for a while. He's trustworthy. He said he was actually looking to buy those tickets.
Oh, good.
And so now,
good.
Oh, very nice.
Now, if it was a friend of yours, Scraby, I think we could, go back and say, all right, now did you cheat?
You can't trust any of my
But a friend of Tony's,
buddy.
on the up and up. All right, let's go to.
I'm sorry. You just disparaged all my friends out there, calling them bad people.
Well, I'm disparaging you more than anybody.
Right. If birds of a feather, flock together, things of that nature. Let's get to traffic into the Big 5.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a handful of problems out here. Step outside of the 125 before Hammershaw. There is a collision. It's been moved over the right shoulder. Also, watch out for a stalled vehicle and step on 805 before El Cajon Boulevard. They managed to move that over to the right shoulder. We saw this collision in the North County, northbound side of the 15 before Auto Parkway. A couple vehicles involved. They got that over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big 5 starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
I'm still getting used to it being dark when we go into the Big 5.
Can't stand it.
It's kind of weird. I'm like, wait, why are we going into the Big 5?
Speaking of election day, we didn't all vote for this.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we voted to not do this ever again, and they just said, "No, sorry, we're going to do it.
We're going to keep doing it.
We're going to keep doing it."
Yes, I've seen that conversation many times across social media, and it's true. No one really knows what the heck we
voted on, and we're like, cool, we won't have it no more, and then we had it like every year since.
It's for the farmers. All right.
Number 5.
You sounded like George there.
Oh.
George is getting angry. It's for the farmers.
Good stanza.
The Big 5 is brought to you by Summit Subaru of El Cajon. See all the 2 ways to save right now at summitsubaru.com. Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty is one of the most unstoppable players in college football, and apparently in an effort to contain him, opponents in recent weeks shifted their defensive schemes to load the box and key in on the run. Jeanty's efficiency as a result and his odds to win the Heisman Trophy have slipped slightly, with the betting market no longer thinking he is the favorite to secure the Heisman. Basically, I say all this to say that to say this.
I was really wondering how much of that you were going to read. It's like an essay.
Well,
first question.
See, I went through the video of this guy's interview, and I could not, for the life of me, find the spot. And I spent good time on this, so I'm just going to have to read it. But Boise State wide receiver Latrell Caples said that teams are attempting to prevent Jeanty from winning the Heisman by stacking the box. He said, quote, "We're playing conference teams that they're trying to let it hang it a little bit and just try to stop Ashton from winning the Heisman. All in all, we're trying to win the game. So we're out there winning the game by just executing our fundamentals at a higher level than they are. They're not trying to win, so I would say so.
All right,
I don't
great.
know what that means. Because you can't win by putting 9 people in the box every single
The guy
play,
with
end
that
quote.
quote caught 6 passes the other night for 3 touchdowns against the Aztecs. He was the beneficiary of the Aztecs stacking the box.
That was, he said that in his interview. I definitely caught that part in trying to search for his quote, but basically I say all that to say
what's
this.
the point?
Tony,
That's a say what?
do you think teams are trying to stop Genty so he doesn't win the Heisman?
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I highly doubt that any Division I coach is going into the week talking to his coaches like, all right, guys, we
don't care if we lose 70-0.
We got to stop this guy from
But
winning the Heisman.
that guy's not winning the Heisman. And by the way, if the Aztecs tried that last week, it only had fair results. They gave up 56 points.
Right.
And Genty got 149 yards by the time it was over.
Listen, you can. Here's the thing. I get what he's trying to do here. He's trying to like boost up his guy. This is just a very.
That's a lousy way to.
Very
try it.
lousy.
It's not
way.
working. Everybody's
Like,
of course, you're gonna stack the box.
He's the best player.
He's the best player on the team
possibly
by a mile.
in the country.
Yeah,
right? Like,
you're gonna stack the
you're
box.
You're trying to stop him. You're not necessarily trying to stop him from winning a Heisman. So, I get what he was trying to do there, but
here's the problem too that Caples doesn't realize: Genty's not going to win the Heisman. He could rush for 10,000 yards in the last 4 games. They will find a way to give it to somebody from somewhere else. Ask Marshall Faulk. I mean, that's all you got to do. They're not going to give it to one of these guys. Come on. Genty's, I mean, I don't care if he's the best player. They're going to find somebody in the SEC who they think is better. Or Big 10 or...
Sad but
true. Cam Ward, Miami's going to win this thing, right? He's in the 4th-ranked team. He's the best quarterback. Done and done.
Number 4.
3-time Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw declined his $10 million player option with the Dodgers, electing to become a free agent. The MLB Players Association listed Kershaw as a free agent in a statement released yesterday. The left-hander is still expected to re-sign with the Dodgers, and he's only played for 1 team in his big league career, 17-year career, the Dodgers. So, Chris, do you think that Clayton Kershaw is expecting to make more or going to take less? Why would you turn down a $10 million option when you haven't really pitched to the level that you have in the past?
I think he thinks he can probably get a little more from the Dodgers.
Really?
Just based on, career statistics. I was looking at this the other day, or in the paper this morning. Not only Kershaw turned $10 million, Nathan Eovaldi $20 million offer that he let go to become a free agent. I'm just saying I understand the salary game, but wouldn't it be wonderful to be in a world where turning down $20 million was actually the smart thing to do? But I'm sure Eovaldi feels that way, and I think Kershaw does too. And I think the Dodgers will reward him with a little bit more money.
As far as Eovaldi,
I didn't ask you yet, sir.
That's what?
I said I didn't ask you yet, sir.
Oh.
Go ahead, Tony. I've asked you now.
I actually think, as far as Eovaldi, I think in his world, turning down the $20 million is a terrific idea in his world.
Right, that's what I mean. It's crazy, though.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. I wish we all could live in a world like that. I also think that Kershaw is actually turning this down. My guess is because he's going to take less.
That's what I thought.
You think he's going to try to help the team?
I think he knows that it's
okay.
not a guarantee that he could even pitch next season. He said he wants to give it a go. And so, I mean...
So you think he's trying to help the Dodgers out a little bit?
Knowing
here.
Clayton, I don't know that I know that he wouldn't feel right knowing he's going into a season and legitimately doesn't know if he's going to actually be able to pitch.
Interesting. Okay, I like that.
That's what I think. That's
just what we need, another Dodger giving money back to the organization to sign other free agents.
Aren't they wonderful?
Oh, man, they're the most charitable organization on earth. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, there's got to be something that... never mind.
I can't believe Patrick Mahomes is garnering all of that attention for a twisted ankle.
Yes.
Scraby's been on one today.
I have been on one, but it's ridiculous. If Clayton Kershaw's like, hey, guys, I'll play for $1 million.
Wait, time out. We criticize guys when they take money that maybe they shouldn't be taking, and this guy is giving money back.
Scraby didn't like
You
that
don't
either.
like that either.
Any other organization situation, because they have about $690 million that they're paying to someone else in like 10 years to help the team now. Okay. What are we on, 3?
Number 3.
The NBA has suspended Philadelphia 76ers star Joel Embiid 3 games without pay for shoving a reporter during a post-game altercation Saturday night. The Joe Dumars, NBA executive vice president and head of basketball operations, said, quote, "Mutual respect is paramount to the relationship between players and media in the NBA. While we understand Joel was offended by the personal nature of the original version of the reporter's column, interaction must remain professional on both sides and can never turn physical," end quote. Tony, actually, our boss Adam came in here and had a pretty good addendum to this, but is 3 games enough?
Yeah.
And his addendum has to be 3 games he was actually going to play.
Yeah, no, I mean, because he could, no, I'm not even going to touch that right now. I'm just going to say that 3 games is enough. Although I didn't have an issue necessarily because of the circumstances of why Embiid felt the way he felt. When it's all said and done, you still got to be a pro. And, whether it was a shove, a punch, or whatever it was, a strong shove, that's not being a pro. And even when you are well within your right to go outside the pro guidelines, you still got to remain professional. And in that heat of the moment, he wasn't, and there are consequences to it. As I said, I didn't have a problem with what he did, but that doesn't mean there's not consequences to it. So I think this is fair.
Chris, 3 games for Joel Embiid?
That's fine. Here's my thing. I wish the NBA had the ability to suspend the columnist from covering a game for 3 games. Just so there's something equitable.
Both sides.
For the person who basically caused this to happen with a ridiculous, reference to a guy's, brother who died. But obviously they can't do that, so this is what they have to do. I also find it always interesting every time I see one of these suspensions come up, and the name Joe Dumars is the executive vice president in charge of these suspensions.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dumars played on the dirtiest team in the history of the NBA.
The Pistons?
Yeah.
Okay.
They beat up on your Bulls quite a bit.
He must have tackled Michael Jordan around the neck 36 times. He ought to know about this stuff.
Number 2.
The NFL has had to further clarify what Tom Brady can and cannot say on his Fox broadcast.
Wow, even more now.
Even more. Because on Sunday, when the Packers and the Lions were playing, that was the game he was calling, one of the players was ejected from the game. And Tom Brady disagreed with the refs for ejecting a player. He said, quote, on the broadcast, "I don't love that call at all. I mean, obviously it's a penalty, but to me, that has to be serious intent in a game like this," end quote. The concern this is from the NFL talking about Tom announcing and being a partial owner of the Raiders. The concern would be if Tom was egregiously critical of officiating or called into question the integrity of an official or the crew. That did not occur in this instance. So, Chris, do you think this is all just too complicated to let Tom Brady announce every week?
Yes. And I felt it was at the time. I don't think he can honestly do both things well. I don't think he wants to give up ownership of the Raiders. I think eventually he's going to be forced into saying something that really messes this whole thing up. This was close this time because he had to say what he said as a broadcaster. Anybody who watched the plays know that the guy should not have been ejected. The Lion guy, I didn't think.
Yeah.
And neither did Brady correctly. But eventually, the ref's going to make some bonehead mistake that we're all going to see that Tom Brady's going to have to comment on, and that's just, it doesn't work because that official could be doing a Raider game the following week. I mean, this is a bad situation.
Yeah. It'd be so hard to pick and choose your words on the air.
It's a bad
calling
situation.
A game just to make sure you're not in trouble with
No
the NFL.
two ways about it.
Tony, do you think this is getting too complicated for a weekly thing?
I'm beginning to think so, and it's unfortunate. I think, Tom Brady and his want to be an owner has complicated this a whole lot more than I think we
I don't
initially
think maybe Fox knew he was thinking about it, but he wasn't an owner when they signed him to that contract.
He wasn't. And so I do think I said this a while ago that eventually he's going to not enjoy doing this because he's constantly worried about these little things. And so I won't be surprised at all if in a year or two Tom's like, I'm good. Because it's either that or give up his ownership stake in the Raiders. And I just have this sneaky suspicion that the paying job of the broadcaster will be the thing that he decides to let go of.
Did I ask you, Chris? Yeah, I already asked you.
Yes, he started, buddy.
I'm just stalling.
You're just reading and not paying attention to our thing.
I don't really have a great number one, and I don't want to talk about it. So
we're just gonna have.
It's basically it's about special mud that's rubbed on baseballs.
Oh, let's talk about it. I like mud. I like Mississippi mud. Let's talk about it.
Oh, okay. It says that they have magical properties. This mud.
I wish they had the magical properties that would allow pitchers to have the grip on the baseball that they want more often.
That was my question: is why don't they just make a tacky ball?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think I heard this from Max actually.
Max.
Scherzer.
Okay, Scherzer.
That the problem with the tacky ball is that it performs differently in different settings. So when it's cold outside,
you did say this.
You don't have the tack. When it's warm, it's super tacky.
Or raining or
right. And
humid.
So, there's that problem.
Chris, any thoughts on
I don't.
mud balls?
On Mississippi mud?
I can't hit any of them. So
you can't hit.
No. They can do whatever they want mud-wise.
All right.
I'm going to come up short.
Big news from the Padres.
Yes, it
Coming
was.
up at 5 p.m.
We got it again for you.
Next.
are we doing out there as we head into the happy hour? Final hour of Gwynn and Chris on this Tuesday, 5:01 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby. Scraby will be along for the Scraby Chronicles coming up between 6 and 7 o'clock this evening. Quite a few things to update you on if you're just tuning in. College football playoff poll, first of the year, is out. And so I love when you do.
So now I get, Chris was like, here, I can't read his writing. So now I do something nice and I put Buffalo Wild Wings and he's making
I can barely
fun of
see
me.
that.
He's like,
It interrupted me right in the middle of a sentence.
well, you usually never look.
That's right.
That quick.
That's why I don't. 5 o'clock hour. The 5 o'clock football hour?
Yep.
Oh, I'm talking about
It doesn't
college.
matter.
Oh, that's football.
Just go.
The 5 o'clock football hour is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where B-Dubs is football. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings. Don't interrupt. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings every... In fact, I have to start over now.
I'm going to turn off my mic.
No, visit Buffalo Wild Wings every Tuesday. Buy one, get one half off.
All right, let's talk Mike Shildt.
Traditional wings. All right, Mike Shildt, and then the college football playoff poll, which is the first of the year. But before that, Mike Shildt. Yes, because he's going to be the manager of the Padres for 2 more years. Kevin Acee reporting that the Padres and Shildt are nearing an agreement to extend him through 2027.
Shout out to Mike.
Shout out to the job Mike Shildt did. He won everybody over, I think, by the time this season had passed.
I have an immense amount of respect for Mike. Watching him in year one of his managerial job, he manages like his game 7 every night. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him after a game, the press conference.
Worn out?
He looks like he was out there playing himself. And I respect that, man. And I think that's probably why at times he comes off a little
salty,
ornery, however you want to place it.
Perturbed
at times. I don't know if perturbed. I don't know if that's a good. Irked might be a little.
No,
I don't think that's the wrong way. Yeah.
But
Either way,
he's a gamer, man. He's a competitor. I respect that too. I got 3 years now with the 2-year extension. I would like by the end of the 3rd year, Mike Shildt knows who I am a little bit better and is willing to put up with my interesting take on questions as we move forward. Because my first interview with him this year, it didn't go great. I mean,
I don't think it went bad.
It wasn't bad, but I want to do better.
I think you first of all, I think it wasn't the first one. Right? I think
that was my first one.
You and I did the first
one.
Oh,
that's right.
So
that
he
was the
caught
second
him
one.
only in the postseason.
Yeah. We didn't get to interview him.
See,
during the year, we didn't get to interview him because he's always on the morning show.
It's a different animal in the postseason, right? Because you're playing the same team. You kind of know all this. It's not like a different series and different things pop up like you do in a regular season that allow for space for different types of questions. It's pretty much you know what's coming, you know what it is. It's the same team. You've been playing each other. So I just think you get a little more intense version at that point.
Well, I think Mike Shildt is a prove-it-to-me guy when it comes to interviewing him. He wants to know the person asking the questions is legit.
Yep.
One of my goals is to get to where he thinks I'm legit.
I don't think that
I don't know if I'll make it, but I'm going to try.
I don't think that when you asked him if he pulls his lineup out of a hat, if that was a good way into
You don't
his
think
heart.
that helped me?
No, but he did laugh. He did laugh.
He did laugh.
Although I was like, "Can I go home, please? This is bad."
I wasn't just asking him to pull his lineup out of a hat for a regular game. It was for like the championship series.
It was.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of respect Chris for going in like this, but I want to leave.
Yeah, I was definitely leading with my chin there, but I survived okay.
Is the word? Do you think someone asked me this over the weekend, and I thought it was really kind of funny? Is the word roller coaster going to be banned in post-game press conferences going forward?
I
It's
don't
gonna
know.
take some guts.
Here's the thing. I think we all have been educated to his frame of mind, right? And it turned out to him, the signs he was seeing from his ball club was not of a roller coaster. Now, for us, who are on the outside looking in, it certainly felt like
We're just strictly looking at the win-loss.
You got 2 here, you got 2 there, you got a win here, you got a loss there. Kind of felt like that. But in the end, he turned out to be accurate, that the team was moving in the right direction. They created a lot of good habits, and those habits got them, to a closeout game, 2 closeout games of the Dodgers in the division series. They came up a little bit short, but I'm just hopeful for the first time. I kind of hope this after the 22 season. But a lot of different things popped up, right? And the 23 season was the World Baseball Classic, right? Is that when all that stuff happened?
Yes.
So an uninterrupted spring training that followed although it ended disappointing, a pretty productive 24 season as a whole. And you just hope they can build on it. I think this could be like the first time where no interruptions, assuming, health is right, that they can kind of just build on a lot of the good habits they created in 24.
How much do you think the trip to Korea affected the team?
Clearly it didn't. I mean, they played...
Not long term, but like in the short term.
I don't think it would have mattered, honestly. Because they didn't start slow. They started 500. They just stayed there pretty much all first half.
They went 1 above, 1 below,
right.
1 above, 1 below.
They might have got 2 above.
It was a roller coaster, but Mike Shildt recognized it really wasn't going to be a roller coaster.
Right.
So he corrected us, and in the end, he was correct.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have the benefit of the doubt going forward on that.
Over under 20 games before I'm concerned about the team next year.
Way under.
I'm going to try really hard to not. I don't know if I could do a Tony thing and go to September before I'm worried.
You don't know. You know why? Is because you jump in there with everybody else.
I do. I'm a fan.
Game ends, you go to Twitter and you jump into that pool of uncertainty and many theories.
And they need to fire this guy.
Right. And then it just gets your head twirling.
Twirling is a good way of describing it.
I'm
going to try really hard next year.
For you, next year, I'm not just going to even say over under 20 games, Scrabe. I'm going to predict a date for you.
Okay.
There's 5 games going to be played next year before April 1st. You will panic before then.
All right, I'm going to put this in my phone so we can remember this.
This is going to be great.
Because they open with 4 games at home against Atlanta, 1 at home versus Cleveland. The best they're going to be is 4-1.
So what's
which
the
means
date?
after 1 loss somewhere in there, you're going to be upset and panicking.
So April 1st?
They play 1 game? You say 1 game?
No, they play 5 games in March before April 1st.
Oh, I got you.
4 against Atlanta, 1 against Cleveland before April 1st. I say that Scrappy will have panicked by then.
They're not even into the April yet.
No, I don't think Scrappy will make it to April.
Hey, Google, remind me on April 1st, 2025 at 10 a.m. that I will panic.
To see if you've panicked.
There we go. All right.
I think you on April 1st, 2025.
Thank you.
That can't wait.
That will really happen?
Yes, that's why. Honestly, I don't know how people lived before reminders on their phone because I am not one of those people.
If I was driving along at 10 a.m. on April the 1st and Google came yelling out at me from the middle of the car, hey, have you panicked yet about the Padres? I would know. I would get in an accident.
It probably will take me a second to realize what it is, and then I'll remember.
That might freak you out.
I set reminders all the time.
I don't know. All right, so Mike Shildt is back. Here's the college football first playoff rankings. Oregon, number 1. If the playoff were today, Oregon would face the winner of the 9-8 game between BYU and Indiana. Interesting thing about that quadrant of the playoff, all 3 of those teams are undefeated. Oregon, Indiana, and BYU. Number 2 is Ohio State. They will play the winner of Tennessee, Notre Dame, as it stands now. Number 3, Georgia would play the winner of Penn State and Alabama. I would have a lot of trouble rooting for anybody in that grouping. And number 4 is the Miami Hurricanes, and they would play either Texas or Boise State. And, I was looking at, you asked...
Wait, the Canes are 3. Yeah.
No, okay, wait. Let me...
Oregon's 1, Georgia's 2, Canes are 3, BYU 4.
No.
says no.
Wait,
no,
wait,
no.
whoa.
Hey, look, Tony, on TV they have Chris playing baseball.
Our hardy
It's
heart.
from like 1892.
No, college football playoff rankings.
You're right. On the bracket,
Yes.
they have it flip-flop. They have BYU 4, Miami 5.
No, BYU's 9. I don't know what they're doing with their bracket. Well, maybe the bracket's different than the rankings.
Maybe this is the projected
bracket.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
is projected.
So, okay, BYU. Oh, because, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all too confusing. Look, the 12 thing, look it up, figure it out. Boise State would be 12 as of now. And as Tony said, whoever they play in the first round.
You know what they did?
They only lost to Oregon by 3 points earlier this year, Boise State. So
I think what just happened is whoever put the graphic together might have just flip-flopped the...
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out when the
So
time
you're saying I put the
comes.
graphic together?
I mean, it
You
very
might
well
have.
could be you at this point.
NFL trade deadline came and went today. The Cowboys are not the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is taking endless for acquiring a wide receiver by the name of Jonathan Mingo from Carolina and being stupid enough to send a 4th-round pick to the Panthers. The reason people say that's stupid is because the Chiefs only had to send a 5th-round pick to get All-Pro DeAndre Hopkins.
Who immediately paid dividends.
Immediately did all right last night with 2 touchdowns, 8 for 86. Ravens got Deontay Johnson a little earlier, also for a 5th-round pick. But Jerry decided to go ahead and offer the 4th-round pick just to get Jonathan Mingo, whoever he is.
This trade makes zero sense.
It makes no sense.
Nobody.
They don't have a quarterback. They're desperately hanging on to
They
their
got Trey
season.
Lance.
They don't have a quarterback.
Hey, the Trey Lance experience needs to start right
This
now.
is the time.
It never needs to start.
No, it definitely does, because now we get to find out if your boy messed up a game.
If you're trying to save your season because Dak Prescott's going to be on IR, I believe, which means he's out for the next 4 games, you're putting your your season into Cooper Rush's hands.
Yeah, go ahead and
it's not going to be Trey Lance.
let Trey Lance play. You got to find out if he can play.
I think we already know.
The other trades were a couple of cornerbacks. So Marshawn Lattimore went to Washington today. The Ram kid went. What was his name? Trey White went to
The Ram kid. I'm thinking of a guy with a ram horn.
Yeah. Sorry. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
I do. I will say this.
Lest me not memorize every one of those guys' names.
Baseball trade deadline, a million miles ahead of the football trade deadline. You don't get the stories like you do in baseball.
This year.
Most years.
I'm just saying.
Didn't Christian McCaffrey move around this time? A couple years ago?
I don't remember exactly when it happened.
It was 2 years ago. He got traded to the Niners.
I'm going to go look this up when it happened.
Deadline time.
Okay. Maybe.
One other baseball note, Shohei Ohtani, shoulder surgery after the labrum dislocation. Joel Embiid suspended 3 games for shoving the columnist. Those are the big stories of the day.
I don't know why that's funny, but it's not funny, but it is kind of funny.
He's a little too big to,
I mean,
that's
look,
the other thing.
as Tony said, Joel Embiid has to be, the pro here.
He does.
But I don't have to be the pro here. And next time I hope Joel shoves him harder for that stupid
October
thing
20th,
he wrote.
so, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But, I'm talking about deadline day. Deadline day doesn't compare to baseball at all.
Not always. Sometimes.
Will you guys just agree with me?
Sure, Scrag. I've done a study on it. You're 100%.
Steelers did get Mike Williams, Rod. And did you hear that Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee when that trade went down? And he seems to be on Pat McAfee a lot when things happen. We can pull up the audio if you guys want it on the other side.
I think that's a good reason to dislike Aaron Rodgers, among the many.
But
the fact that he has made us have to put up with the star that is now Pat McAfee.
I don't.
That would have never happened if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers going on his show
I
every
don't
week.
know
I
about
think
that.
Pat was coming one way.
I do
You
too.
think?
Yeah.
You think even without Aaron Rodgers, that was the only way he was getting attention for 2 years?
Nah, he's a wild man. Like he don't need Aaron Rodgers to get attention. Like he does that all on his own.
I will respect your authority there because I don't watch him. So
Authority.
All right. This is not me.
Who invented that line? Respect
Cartman.
my authority.
Of course it was Cartman.
Of course it was Cartman.
For people out there, Cartman from
Eric
South Park.
Cartman from South Park. Yes.
Chris's one
Forgot
of
about
Chris's
Eric.
favorite characters in all of TV is Cartman, right?
Cartman right up there with Columbo and Sam Malone.
Cartman, Columbo, and Sam Malone. That is a collection.
I would also have to put Walter White pretty high on the list. And
Now, that is a collection now.
Walter White and give me not Breaking Bad. What's the other show?
I don't know.
Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Saul Goodman.
That was the playoff of
Yes,
Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Both shows I think are amazing. All right, more Gwynn and Chris after traffic.
From the
723. Gwynn and Chris. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. My two cohorts here, I think, are going to have some issues with this next sound we're going to play. Mike Williams, who was in the crosshairs of Aaron Rodgers earlier in the season where he didn't run the right route at the end of a game, according to Mr.
It was
Rodgers.
the worst throw you've ever seen, and you'd have to agree.
But he said it was the wrong
He was
route.
in the wrong he was
Where
in the wrong
was he?
lane.
He was.
I don't know
supposed to
the
go
lane.
up.
The throw
He
was 10 yards short of him, though.
He was in the wrong lane, Chris.
Chris,
That's what
do
Aaron
not-
Rodgers said.
Do not question the quarterback. He was supposed to be running on the numbers.
I cannot believe that Mike Williams even had one pass directed his way by Aaron Rodgers.
Well, here's
He won't have any more.
He happened to be on what's my man's name?
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. Aaron McAfee happened to be on Pat McAfee's show when the trade went down.
Now, I will say Pat McAfee delivered the news. Aaron Rodgers just kind of nodded his head like, okay.
Okay.
And then
is that
here's his-
is that your interpretation of the nod?
Yes, it
Okay,
wasn't a big. It
I
wasn't
just
a
want
big
everybody
thing.
to know it's Scraby's interpretation of the nod.
It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't
Okay.
like he was like, "Oh no," and like But here it is. Here's Aaron Rodgers talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike's a quiet guy. Just kind of goes about his business. Mike had a rough injury last year, that ACL. It's tough to come back from, and he worked his ass off all off season. Wasn't around for a lot of training camp. He's working on the side, but I felt like he was getting better throughout the early part of the season when he was. It felt like his speed was getting better and he was feeling more comfortable with it. That's a tough injury. I had that injury, and it's the mental part that takes the longest. But Mike's a good guy. He'll be good in that locker room. Obviously, got a lot of great veteran leadership. He's had a nice career, and sometimes change of scenery is great for certain guys. I mean, she was great for me. It was fun, kind of get re-enthused and stuff. And we kind of knew with Devontae coming in that there'd be less targets for everybody because G's lead the league in targets. He's gonna get his targets, and Tay's dynamic player. He's gonna get his targets. So if this gives Mike more opportunities, that's awesome, and we wish Mike well.
Pause that. Scrape right there. Don't see what it says under his name.
Yes, Super Bowl champ,
No.
4-time NFL MVP, ayahuasca enthusiast.
See, that's why I love Pat McAfee. He's definitely going to take his shots, even at his boys.
Even his own guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is trying to give an honest answer, and under his name, and it says ayahuasca enthusiast.
He is, though. He would tell you
I'm
he
not
is.
saying he's not, but it's just kind of a funny thing to put in there.
Especially underneath the
Yeah.
Super Bowl champ, four-time
NFL
MVP.
MVP. He's wearing a hat from San Diego, Juega House Athletic Association.
Does he not live in this
I
neck of the
think
woods?
he used to. I think he sold
frequents
his
this
house.
place.
Yes.
Okay.
Often. Okay, Scraby, you take issue with his soundbite, sounded like, during the break.
He sounds like a GM. He sounds like not a teammate, not a player, but he sounds like a GM when he's already got his thing all figured out. Like sometimes a play, or sometimes
So
going
here's
to a new
the
scenery.
I think here's the question: is what is it that a player? Because you said he sounds like a GM. What is a player supposed to sound like in that spot?
I would think a player would talk more about. I know you're putting me on the spot here. I should have had a better way of describing
I'm just asking.
this.
You seem to take issue with his.
I just took issue that
his
it's like
tone.
it's so nonchalant, and at the end, he is like a GM delivering news to the media. Oh, there's not a lot of targets to go around, so this guy's going to get his targets, and a change in scenery is going to be good for this guy.
So
he doesn't talk to him like a teammate. He talks
needed
to
him to
him
be
like
somber?
a superior. It's not even about what he was somber. He was somber. It's more like that he is talking like he is making these decisions rather than the organization.
When
telling
Tony
us
said
why.
you were going to be mad about what he said, I thought he was going to say something like, Mike Williams doesn't even run the right routes, so we're happy to get him out of town.
I would actually have loved that.
That would be more accurate, probably. But I thought his answer was pretty good, actually. And I think he just explained to people, what happened with Mike Williams with the Jets. He was complimentary to the guy battling back from an injury. I think he was maybe a little more political than normally he is. He didn't want to say anything to ruffle feathers. I
he's
felt
learning.
he accomplished that.
Maybe he's learning.
All right,
Yeah.
maybe I went a little too far on this.
Yeah, I think he was all right with that one. I'm waiting to, get on his case.
That's why I was happy to hear that from Chris.
But I
Both
didn't
of you
see
guys that aren't necessarily the biggest Aaron Rodgers fans.
No.
Yet you had two different perspectives on that.
I'm a fan of
soundbite.
Aaron Rodgers in one category.
What's that?
For some reason, he can co-host Jeopardy.
Oh, yeah.
He was good at that. He
remember
wasn't just mediocre.
I remember you saying that.
He
in
was
real time.
good at it. Yeah.
There's nothing like your take falling flat in the air, and then you just think about it for
I
the
mean,
next.
you should be kind of used to
12
that. at this
hours.
point. Your take sometimes.
When I watched it
falls
this morning,
You should be used to that. That almost got past me there.
When I watched it this morning, I was like, "Oh, this could be great for the show. This is going to be such good fodder." And then I re-listened to it, and it's not that big of a deal. Although he does sound very presidential-like and
I mean,
GM-like.
he's an ayahuasca enthusiast. This is how you come into those situations.
And a cayenne pepper enthusiast now.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a waste of a segment. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's okay. It got us.
Anything
it
that
got us
opens
through
up
it, baby.
to criticize you, I think, is a solid segment.
All right, let's step away. Let's get to break. We'll finish things up when we return. Earlier, Mark Zeigler joined us to talk a little bit of Aztec basketball. You get a chance to hear that as well right here on Gwynn and Chris.
Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Perfect shot. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot. Perfect shot. Nice on. Birdie. Great shot. Perfect shot.
Gwynn and Chris, Crisello, Matt Scraby, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Somewhere out there.
Yeah, he's somewhere out there.
I wish he would listen to things when he's out of the studio.
Maction is going on right now. Classic matchup here between Ball State and Miami, Ohio, 7-7 first quarter. A score you just had to have. And so it is you have it. Tony, I was just asking Scraby because I always joke about Lieutenant Columbo and the television show Columbo. And I actually asked Scraby if you ever seen one before. He said no.
Columbo?
Have you ever seen a Columbo?
Yes, I have.
And would you say thumbs up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an episode for Scraby to go back and watch. He's
I'm
never
trying to-
actually seen one. I
it
think
comes-
it really is a good show. I like it more than most, but
I can't remember. I recently, last year, moved to YouTube TV, and there is a channel that has Columbo that comes
on it,
on. I just
okay.
don't know which one it is. I've
Yeah.
watched a couple episodes. It's good.
yeah, it's quite good.
All
All
right,
right,
I'll
I'll try to
check it out.
find one for you.
I don't know if
Scraby.
that's kind of. I honestly don't know if that's Scraby's cup of
Cup of
tea. though. He
tea.
likes
Yeah, there's no
murder
blood
and-
necessarily.
yeah.
I don't need
There's
blood.
no horror.
I just need death.
Yeah, I don't
There's
know that
death.
there's some death in
No,
there.
somebody dies every
Yeah.
every
It's
time
episode,
somebody
yeah,
dies.
somebody has to die.
Yeah.
I'll check it out because I like. I guess CSI is the wrong.
The way he
Yeah, that's
unravels
way
the
too-
crime.
way-
gory.
If you're comparing Columbo to CSI, you're gonna be
Oh,
disappointed.
there was a show named Monk. Have you guys ever heard
Yes,
of that?
I remember
was
Monk
quite good.
USA.
Yeah, that was
Came on
good.
He was a
USA.
quirky character.
He was very
Columbo's
quirky.
very quirky.
I'll check it out. I have no problem checking it out. As long as Chris watches whatever I need him to watch one day.
It's like a Columbo is like a mix of Monk and Magnum. Like that kind of same. He's
But I don't
quirky,
know-
but he got a little toughness to him.
I don't know that there's ever been a crime show though where they give you the crime in the first segment of the show. You see who commits the murder right away.
Yeah,
They don't. He then unravels it. But in almost every other crime show I've ever seen, somebody gets murdered and then you don't get told who it is till the end.
Do you remember the movie Minority Report?
Of course.
So they briefly had a TV show called Minority Report where they would start it the same way. You got to see the
Oh, okay.
crime first, and then they would work
They would
backwards.
work it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll check out Columbo. I have no problem checking out Columbo.
Here we go with Aztec basketball. One of my favorite times of the year. I'm always a little, kind of just down and out, lonely feeling when baseball season's over and, you have all these days in between Sunday football.
It's very sad, Chris.
It is. But thankfully, Brian Dutcher and these kids, they have, and of course my women's team, but, You know, the Aztec men's basketball has given us so much the last, what is it now, going on 10 years?
At least
12
10 years, right?
where they've just been really good. I mean, the first tournament they made was 2010 or 11, Sweet 16. So
I was about to say,
that's
they made
13, 14 years. No, but I mean the Sweet 16, yeah. Kawhi Leonard and guys, that was 13, 14 years, and it's been good ever since, and never better than the last couple of years. But how will it be this year? The Aztecs start tomorrow night against UC San Diego, a team that nearly beat them last year. Good crosstown game. Mark Zeigler gave us some insight, and we'll hear it after traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Ooh, scary stuff driving home in the dark, guys. Seeing all these accidents, especially in the North County, northbound 5 before Del Mar Heights Road. There's a collision involving a couple vehicles. They're over to the right shoulder, and we still have this crash up ahead before the 78, blocking the slow lane. Northbound side of the 15 before the 56, there is a collision involving a semi that may have hit part of the overpass. That's in the HOV lane. Watch out for some debris in the roadway. Now further north on the 15 before the 78, got a collision blocking the slow lane. Now traveling on westbound 8 just before the 125, there's a collision involving several vehicles. It's all over the right shoulder. Northbound side of the 15 past Market Street, collision blocking middle lanes. Motorcycle involved in that. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
The Aztecs in action tomorrow against UCSD. We've got our guests to talk a little bit about our Aztecs. Mark Zeigler joins us, Union Tribune. And Mark, how are you today, first and foremost? How's your day going?
It's going okay. I mean, can't complain. We're in November. We got a little Santa Ana going. I voted, so all's good.
All's good. All's good.
You're
All
a
right.
good American, Mark. You're a good American. I've always said that.
Mark, obviously the Aztecs coming off of a pretty good showing against in the exhibition game. They get ready for tomorrow's game against UCSD. How is this basketball team feeling going into tomorrow's game?
You know, I think after the closed-door scrimmage against UCLA and then the open-door exhibition against Cal State San Marcos, some of the questions around this team were answered. I mean, I think there was a lot of concern among fans and maybe even among some of the coaches, just so much newness and so many young guys and, what's that going to look like? And I think they were pleasantly surprised. Now, can they carry that over into a pressure-packed season opener, full house that will probably be a lot closer and it's going to require some pressure plays to be made? We'll see. But I think people have been pleasantly surprised with how quickly this team has progressed, how well they're playing defense, how together they are, how long and athletic they are, and how much potential they seem to have. So far, so good. But this, as we know from last year's game, can be a stumbling block.
Yeah, last year UCSD, by all rights, probably should have won that game against the Aztecs until Jaden Ledee rode to the rescue. And obviously, Mark, that's not going to be happening this year. How, in general, is Brian Dutcher and company planning to make up not only just for the points of Jaden Ledee, but just the offense running through Jaden Ledee last year? Where are they going to go, especially with Reese Waters starting the season hurt?
I think, you have two choices, and one is to just kind of have the same system, find another guy to stick in that spot and kind of feature him there. But the other, I think they realize there is no more Jaden Ledees on this roster. And the other option is just to retool everything and make it a different offensive approach that better suits your personnel, and that's what they've done or tried to do. It's a much more free-flowing team. You'll hear the coaches, yelling at them to play multiple sides of the floor, to stretch the defense, to swing the ball quicker, to move the ball quicker, something we didn't really see the last few years with Matt Bradley and Jaden Ledee, and understandably so. I mean, those guys are very good one-on-one players. You got them the ball, you got them in the right spots, you got out of the way. This is going to be much more equal opportunity, and so we're going to see a lot of different guys scoring. I mean, Nick Boyd, I think, will have a good season and will, could be a leading scorer. So could Miles Bird when Reese Waters comes back. He's a candidate. Magoon Guath could have big games. Jared Coleman-Jones has the offensive skills to have big games. And you just keep going from there. And Wayne McKinney has proven it at USD. He can have big games. And so I just think you're going to see a different leading scorer every night and just much more equal opportunity.
Mark Zeigler joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Mark, oftentimes as we've watched this Aztec program, there's like a steady improvement throughout the course of the year, but they kind of hit their stride come January, around that time frame. You start seeing them play kind of the brand of basketball we're used to seeing them play. Now, with all of the things that you've discussed, this being not really having a go-to guy, so to speak, with a guy like Reese Waters out, do you expect that kind of progress to look a little different this year?
Yeah, I still think they'll be, their typical peaking in January, February, March, that type of thing. I think they'll be way better. I think that you'll see some signs right now of what they can do, but where I think the real question is going to become is when they play close games. We'll see how many close games they play. You never know. But when they play close games, who has the ball in those situations? Who's the go-to guy? What's the play? Can they get a basket when you need one? Can they get a stop when you need one? And those are things you can't answer till you play games. And so that's, to answer your question, we really won't know. I mean, I'm the next step for this team now is to see this team in pressure situations. It's one thing when you're blowing out Cal State San Marcos by, it was 80-39. I mean, those guys were down 11-0. They couldn't score. You knew they were going to win, and everyone's much looser and freer. But, you saw it last year at UCSD when that game tightened up. So did the Aztecs, because in the back of their minds, like, oh my gosh, we cannot lose this game. This would be a huge embarrassment for us, given our stature. And UCSD is a very capable team. They're going to hover around the 100 mark in Ken Palm. They're picked third in the Big West. They finished second last year. They got 3 key returnees back. They got some decent transfers. Guy from Oregon State. They got Chris Howell, the Torrey Pines guy who played at St. Mary's. They got some guys, and so what's going to happen when they're in that pressure situation, and that will sort of answer, I think, the questions about how quickly this team will progress. They've got to go through that, figure that out, and if it's a seamless transition, if it's Nick Boyd and he just says, look, I'm taking over, and he does it, then no problems. But if they struggle to they're all standing out there looking at each other, saying, I don't want the shot, you take it, then it's going to be a longer progression.
Aztecs and UCSD tomorrow night, Wednesday, the season opener at Viejas Arena. I loved your story last week about the new assistant coach asking Dutch and the rest of the guys how many people would be at the exhibition game, and suggesting maybe there'd be 200 or 300 people there. And they told him, oh, no, there'll be 10 or 11,000. And so it was. It was like sold out almost for exhibition. Is there any time where we still should maybe shake our head at just how high of a stature this Aztec program has reached, how amazing this all is, their success in the tournament the last 2 years, and how much fun we all are having?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see as this goes on, because winning is just expected now, right?
Yeah.
Going to the tournament, losing the first round is a bad season now. And that's probably unfair to any college basketball program, given how much parity there is and how much things are changing, and particularly for a program that's not in a power conference. And I'm interested to see if fans, particularly the guys like us who've been around a long time, remember those bad old days, if they still have that appreciation for it. Or at the first hint of disappointment, do they turn on the team and say, oh, this team's no good, and forget that, what it was like when Tony Fuller was here and Fred Trinkle was here and that whole crew, and they were playing in Peterson Gym. And so, and this season, that's going to be tested a little bit. I mean, look, they're not going to be favored. They're going to play UCSD tomorrow night, and then they're going to play Division III Occidental. And then after that, they're not going to be favored in their next 4 games. Most likely they won't be favored. And they won't be favored against Cal probably in December. And so that's 5 of your 9 non-conference games you're not favored in. And if they don't win those games, well, they weren't supposed to. Now what are fans going to do?
Right.
And so that to me is going to be, this is going to test it like it really hasn't been tested before. Now, of course, if the Aztecs come out and start winning some of these games and get ranked, well, then everyone will forget about that. But I think this is the season where we're really going to see the true colors of fans.
Mark, it's hard not to be paying close attention to what's happening with the Mountain West and them being able to add more teams to that conference, as some of the big teams that have already decided to head to the Pac-12 made their decision. It seems like the Mountain West has been able to act pretty fast and add and add new teams. And recently they add a Grand Canyon to the mix as a team in that Mountain West. Is this as bad as it seems on the outside looking in for the Pac-12, or was this anticipated that the Mountain West would be able to move the way they have?
I don't think anything's anticipated because there's so much uncertainty now. But look, and you make a really good point. As much as the Mountain West might have been caught off guard by the 4 teams leaving and then the 5th, they have acted very quickly, circled the wagons, figured out what they wanted, and moved and acted on it. And I think they've done a pretty good job. UTEP, given the circumstances, isn't a horrible ad. It's in a big city, a big market, has some tradition, has a big football stadium, provides a natural rival for New Mexico, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a horrible ad, and they jumped on them very quickly. And then Grand Canyon, I think, is a tremendous ad.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen what they've done with their basketball program. They're controversial because they're not, certain sections of the government still consider them a for-profit enterprise. And that should be troubling for anybody in college athletics because it allows them to invest maybe in places, particularly in athletics, that other schools are more reluctant to do. And so, what we've seen with their basketball program, it's taken off. I mean, you look at Boise State for all the success they have. They've never won an NCAA tournament game. Grand Canyon has. They beat St. Mary's last year in the first round, and it was impressive, and they deserved it. They beat the Aztecs twice at home. So that's going to be a huge ad for their basketball metrics and really help them in terms of the basketball conference. Maybe not quite as good as the Pac-12 will be with Gonzaga, but really not that far behind. As far as the Pac-12 is concerned, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. Unless they can convince 3 or 4 teams from the AAC to jump and join them and really get an Eastern presence, it's going to be difficult for one of those schools to come. Because that one school that comes, say it's a Memphis, they're going to have to travel all their athletes west most of the time, whereas the current Pac-12 members will only have to go to Memphis like once or twice, and so that's a huge ask for a mid-major type school to do without the charter resources that some of these big schools have. And so that's my question. I mean, who are you going to get? And I don't think we have the answer yet.
We kidded with Mark off the air that as a Stanford grad, he ought to try to bring the Cardinal back in, but he says he doesn't have the power to do that. Mark, last thing before I go, we go, and I would never want him to leave. I don't want him ever to go. Brian Dutcher, he has been now part of this program for, what is it, 25 years, 30 years?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Is there no end in sight? And if so, I hope that's the case. But, I mean, has he ever even talked about life after the Aztecs?
No, I think he's really happy. I think he's really enjoying. I mean, you went to the national championship and the Sweet 16 in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But like we just talked about, I mean, with the expectations kind of get the better of them, or NIL. I mean, you just saw what happened with Tony Bennett and saying this isn't the game that I remember coaching. And look, Brian Dutcher falls into that category. When he got into the business and for, pretty much all his career, it was a different game than it is now. He's adjusted, and his best quality is that he has adjusted, whether it's the transfer market, getting transfers in, or the way the game's played, or various rule changes. He's always been able to adjust, as did Steve Fisher. But I mean, I think there'll come a point where the frustration and age kind of intersect, and you just say, you know what, I've made my money, I enjoyed my time, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my life. You have grandkids, and his daughters live in town, so that point will come. I don't think it's for probably 3 or 4 more years, but it will come, and then we'll move on, and hopefully it will be Dave Velasquez will replace him, and you'll have another seamless transition, and it'll just keep going forward. But there's so much change in college basketball now. I don't think anybody should take their success for granted. It's getting harder and harder for a program like San Diego State to succeed, and we'll find out just how hard this year.
Yeah, none of us are in a rush to see Dutch go.
Oh, absolutely
there's
not.
No doubt about that. Mark, as always, man, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. We'll catch up again soon.
All right, I'll talk to you guys.
Thanks, Mark. I looked it up. Looked it up officially. Steve Fisher came here in 1999, so this is the 25th
year before I got there.
25th year for Dutcher as either an assistant. And guess how many years now Dutcher's been the head coach? this coming year.
6th?
His 8th.
Wow.
Time just flies.
That does fly.
Flying by.
8th?
That's
he
crazy.
started in 2017-18. So this is 24-25. That'd be his 8th year.
He didn't even get to finish his second season, which might have been the best of all.
No kidding. Remind us.
Of course, it was San Diego that had that.
Yeah, I know. The 5 o'clock football hour presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where B-Dubs is football. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings every Tuesday for buy one, get one half off. Traditional wings. I think that's going to
Chronicles
pretty much wrap it for us. Get you ready for old Scrabe on the Chronicles. I think we used everything you could possibly use.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck with that.
Well, at the end of the show, I usually do like random stories and then the daily gripe. I have a random story. Fireball is going the alcohol is going to make a whiskey called Cryerball, and they're literally going to take tears from people who their team lost and put it into the whiskey. It's a gimmick, but I'm going to explain it. That's what they told me.
Big
or
gimmick.
That's what the article told me. People.com.
Cryerball.
Cryerball.
Can't wait to listen to that on the Chronicles.
Sounds like something you could be a good spokesperson for.
A Cryerball.
We're back tomorrow.
Okay, fine. An hour of me just bashing Patrick Mahomes.
That could happen as well.
Very much in line
Stay
with the
tuned to
Chronicles.
find out where he goes with the Chronicles. For Gwynn and Chris, we'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Peace out.